What's going on? 6 o'clock on the dot from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. The Titans have added a familiar face to the roster in defensive lineman Kyle Pico. Pico was added to replace defensive lineman Shaquille Brown, who was injured against the Chicago Bears and placed on injured reserve, effectively ending his season. Pico spent time with the Titans in 2021, played in 8 games with the team, and put up 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, and a forced fumble. But to bring in a familiar face, they had to get rid of one, prompting the wave of DB Chris Jackson. The former 2020 7th-round pick played in 24 games for the Titans with 6 starts. Now Christian Fulton is the only remaining member of the 2020 draft class. The Tennessee Titans also activated safety Josh Thompson from the physically unable to perform list. Thompson played in 6 games for the Titans last year, playing exclusively on special teams where he registered 83 snaps. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Energized and ready to go on a Tuesday morning edition of RKW. We're powered by all 4 Seasons Garage Doors, and the full crew is back together again. We've got our 11-year NFL veteran. He is Titans Radio's Ramon Foster. We've got our Capitalized J broadcast journalist veteran, the one and only Kayla Anderson. And the most interesting producer in the world behind the glass, making the show happen. His name, of course, is Robert Walsh. I'm Will Bowling. It is Tuesday, August the 15th, as the Titans get ready to head to Minneapolis to practice with the Minnesota Vikings. Ryan Tannehill with one of his best days of training camp so far yesterday, and an AP poll that makes us angry about college football. We've got a lot to discuss. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
That was an interesting open. I think we all are glad our throats are cleared right now.
For
right?
real.
No frogs in our throat.
I'm still
That was awesome.
I'm still laughing from those voices.
I know.
Particularly yours, Kayla. I was like, what?
Remember when we all did our impressions of Joe Hunk that day?
I remember specifically everyone doing their impression, and I said, no, hold on, we need to go back. Everyone needs to give me a Joe Hunk impression right now. And I'm going to throw – I knew what I was going to do with it, but I didn't know how I was going to do it. So I'm glad it caught you guys correctly.
Robert Walsh.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Bravo, Rob. Bravo, man.
Thank you.
I wonder if there are new men on the Minnesota Vikings.
What?
Is that Lizzo?
Stop it.
What are you talking about?
New man on the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, my gosh.
What in the world? She got canceled, so if you start quoting her, you're going to get canceled,
She
too.
officially canceled.
She is on her way,
It doesn't take
man.
much.
I had to use it, y'all. What you said
Oh,
on
my
the way to
gosh.
Minnesota, I was like, well, I wonder if they have
Yeah.
new men up there.
How dare you make a joke that bad when we have so long
That
until
was
I can
really
go to
early.
break and silence you. Send you to the shadows. How long have you been planning that one?
Soon as Bert said it is
Answer for
update.
yourself. You menace.
It just came that quickly, huh?
It did, Kayla. I was like, you know what? I gotta use it. Wait till we get done with the Joe Hunk voices. That's like, I gotta ask if there's new men on the Minnesota Vikings.
Forgot about that song.
That sucks for Lizzo. No, if that's true, that's bad on her. I don't even feel bad for her.
That joke is going to weigh heavy on my soul.
Oh my God. But you know what, Ramon? I tell you when your jokes are bad. You know why?
Why?
Because truth hurts. But we're very back.
We're back now, man. Whoo, golly, y'all. I lifted again yesterday.
Did you?
I did.
Wow.
So all it took
did.
was traveling with a football team for you to be like, you know what? I got to start getting back in the weight room a little bit.
Boom.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I wish you were lying. Not even just that, but I was just like, let's go ahead and attack this thing. Like, I've lost a good bit of weight now to where I'm just like, and honestly, I'm actually going above them on this one because they really don't want me to lift much because the muscle actually adds weight, essentially, because muscle is heavier than fat. But I'm like, all right, I got to start getting my tone in a little bit.
You're about to be two-tone mom if you keep working out like that.
I'm actually
Two-tone, T-O-O.
Yeah, I'm actually announcing this to hold myself accountable. I did go to the gym, and I was just like, all right, let me go ahead and get right with this thing. And it's essentially some of the stuff we talked about. Core on the sideline, muscle supporting me as I'm standing on the sidelines too, Kayla.
To help the back.
And I stretched big time yesterday too. You be proud of that
good.
one, Kayla.
That's good. Next step is yoga.
I let my dog know when she said like the yoga thing is a thing. I was over there stretching in the middle of somebody's workout too, Kayla. Ask me if I care. Ask me if I care.
With the video camera, with your camera going?
When were you stretching?
When was this? After my workout was done.
After?
Yeah. That's
You
what you're
stretch
supposed to
after a
do.
workout?
Yeah, do.
Stretch before a
That's the
workout.
reason you can't touch your toes right now.
No, no, that's not true at all. It's because I'm 6'1" and my legs are long.
And I'm 6'6" and my legs are long.
Well, I know,
but I'm all legs.
The
out
sport
here.
that I did was not conducive to flexibility whatsoever.
In mine wasn't. Oh well, I guess you don't have to stretch. You just got to be good on the ground. There's no bend in your sport. You're right.
Yeah, no, there's nothing.
But no excuse, Will. You should maybe touch your toes.
We should all do a touch a toe-a-thon at the end of the summer. We should all be able to touch our
Please
toes.
don't do that to me.
And for that reason, I'm out.
Touch
I
a
have a
toe-a-thon.
large boulder in the way for me touching. It is my round belly. Don't be sad. I love this smooth belly of mine. Keeps me. Y'all said it like I'm about to have somebody have to
I
do
know, we're all like,
a daggum call in for me or something.
Call in now to help Robert Walsh
Lose this
touch his
boulder.
toes.
That is his belly.
I hardly know her.
I knew today was going to be this way after that workout, though, because I hadn't really lifted. I was only doing body weight squats, and I did some kettlebell squats, too.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Lunges, y'all. I can't get over
I
the
love
mental.
lunges.
Kayla, I
You
replace
love
them
lunges?
every time.
Yeah.
That's like the worst one.
Because my legs are just hard to define because they're so long and skinny.
Yeah.
So when I do them, I'm like, yeah, I can feel that muscle building.
The burn.
That's the worst part.
And burn.
That pain around the knee and
That's
like
where I want the muscle.
Oh, Kayla.
Oh, what's everyone's least favorite exercise at the gym?
It would have to be lunges or split squats.
Trap bar deadlifts.
Oh, I love trap
Next
bar
question.
deadlift.
I used to love them. Hate them now
Split squats or lunges.
because it gets your grip and your legs.
Jeez, I like exercising.
Mine's got to be leg press because I be
know.
farting. Every time.
My
Anytime that you get in
God.
that thing, I've always got headphones in too because I'm like, did I just fart? And then you notice no one around you, as like everyone is left.
Please don't say you're the guy on the plane like I did on my trip to LA that
Somebody
farted
drove-
for 4 hours straight.
Oh, good.
Wow,
And
that's a
thought-
world record.
That really stinks.
And thought they were getting away with it. Bro, you're not that guy.
Already.
Well, that's coming up at 8:20 this morning.
It's a preview.
Hey, he was drive-by
The
the
whole
whole
time. I mean, every like 20 minutes, it
I
was
hate those
not
dudes.
good.
I hate those dudes.
Not good. I
And
had
they
to
think
take
they're-
4 showers when I got to my destination.
They think they're funny too. I hate the drive-by poopers. I hate them. I do.
Coming up this morning, Bill Connelly of ESPN.com joins us at 7:20. We've got You're Not That Guy at 8:20. For anyone else who's stinking up our world, both online or in person. And, of course, Ron Slay joins us in hour number 4
Yeah.
at 9:20. I still can't believe you're stretching at the end of a workout.
That's what you're supposed
should
to
do
do.
before.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I did it before and after. You stretch afterwards to help the muscles relax and grow more. Will that also? So it's few things that happen after you lift. Major hydration helps the soreness.
Yeah.
Stretching does too, and also getting a protein shake or some food in you right afterwards. Yeah. If I might have some carbs, it's immediately after my workout because
Sure.
the burn is so high. Like
Your
that's-
muscles want the nutrients.
Yeah, you feel me, Kayla? You are supposed to stretch after your workouts, Will.
Yeah.
No, Kayla.
You are.
I mean,
Bert.
I did that
Before and after.
Even Bert knew that.
Well, I mean, there's different ways you can do it before. I definitely don't like it before.
You don't like stretching before?
You got to do some kind of like thing to get the blood pumping. Like I do like jumps or like different stretches that are
Okay.
like dynamic stretches.
The only
Dynamic
jump-
stretches were good.
The only jump I'm doing is jumping to conclusions. I'm telling y'all, To move all this is a lot. I ain't jumping nowhere.
I don't know. I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat, but
You should take Bert to like a workout. It'd be so fun.
I love that.
Please, somebody.
He's so
Because
fun.
I'm every time I bench, I got to get somebody to spot me, and that somebody is usually Cheyenne, who is dazing off. About
Who's dazing
guillotined
off?
me the other day, where
Oh.
I'm like, hold
Oh,
on,
that's the worst.
I'm just trying to do this once. I just need you to help me if I can't get it off. And here she is. Na, 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 doing her little dance. I'm like, come on, girl, get this
Oh,
up.
no.
Get this up.
I guess if you're doing some kind of cardio, then yes, you should stretch after.
Yeah.
I just never
Right.
do cardio because I'm very burnt out of it.
I did the stair
And that's probably
stepper.
something I should see a therapist about.
Yeah. That sounds like something you need to fix internally, man.
0 out of 10.
0 out of 10. That's fair. Hey.
Like we said, 7:20 this morning, Bill Connelly of ESPN.com. We've got our first top 25 poll in college football, and we've got an article that we discussed last week with him that he wrote on ESPN.com about the most important players for the college football playoff race this season that has Joe Milton at the top of it. Looking forward to talking with him about that coming up in 1 hour. You're not that guy at 8:20. If you're starting your morning early today, you haven't had the cup of coffee yet, channel that bitterness that may be in your coffee and is in your day so far without the caffeine. Bring it to us at 8:20. Complain about somebody in your week. We'll do that in hour number 3. And then Ron Slay in hour number 4. It'll go by fast. Don't blink. You just might miss it as RKW gets the full band back together this morning on 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Are you looking to check some items off your summer home to-do list? Or maybe you're looking to freshen up your home's look before hosting friends and family for a cookout. Well, available 24/7, 365, the Lee Company Home Improvement Professionals, they've got you covered. From pressure washing your driveway or deck to drywall repairs, landscape lighting, painting, and more, Lee Company is all you need. You hear me say that all the time. Lee Company is all that you need. And with football season coming up, those cookouts getting a little bit cooler. You've got still some things to do on that summer home to-do list. Well, summer is running out. So you need to contact Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit them online at leecompany.com to schedule your appointment. That's leecompany.com for all your home improvement needs this summer. Lee Company, all you need. Tuesday morning at RKW is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. You can join us at 615-737-1045. We've got the first AP Top 25 poll out. We'll get to that coming up here at the end of hour number one. With Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, an AP voter, and Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. Let's get to practice observations yesterday, guys, where, Kayla, I'll start with you. It's safe to say Ryan Tannehill showed how far ahead he is of Malik Willis and Will Levis yesterday?
I think so, Will. And we've been used to, and we've said it on here a couple times, the defense taking over practices a little bit, at least showing a bit of they're above the offense at this point. But yesterday, I remember standing on the sidelines and watching, Ryan Tannehill in particular with many of his reps, and I'm like, whoa, like the offense is just dominating. And it was Ryan Tannehill just dialing up targets. And he looked really good.
I'm glad to hear that because I think the reality of this past weekend for all of us, Kayla, was the guys can be good, but they're not there. Mm-hmm. This team is in always a win now mode when it comes down to how they're going to participate and how nobody's going to lay down. And seeing Tannehill, whether he saw them perform or whether you just noticed the difference, Kayla, of look, Will Levis and Malik Willis can be fine, but there is a different level to a franchise starter. Yep. I'm glad to hear that, he's really just laying it all out, Kayla. And we kind of hoped this was going to be the case, that he could just play free, do his own thing,
Sure.
Yeah, the exact numbers for him yesterday were solid. He completed his first 16 passes of the day in 7-on-7 and team periods combined. The only period he didn't really finish successfully was the 2-minute drive late in practice. That stalled after he completed his first 3 passes. Finished today 17 of 20 in the 7-on-7 and team periods combined. And Ryan Tannehill is now 106 of 165 in those periods through 11 training camp practices. I would imagine just the rest factor of having a weekend off to watch the preseason game against Chicago and then have a little bit of renewed energy going out on a Monday for him and many of the veterans, including Traylon Burks and DeAndre Hopkins. That's a good sign that the restful weekend really worked in their advantage.
I think so. And I think it's also they know they're about to go really turn it up in Minnesota, just to have something to draw some momentum off of, in this only practice this week in Nashville, as they're going to head to Minnesota later today. And, when you spoke to a lot of these guys after practice, just when you brought up joint practices, I mean, they enjoy it, but it's a different type of enjoy, because it's the enjoy that they know they're going to get results out of it, but it's also extremely physical and a little taxing as a player. So I think you're right, Will, having that energy on a Monday when you're in the bubble, and it was Mike Vrabel's birthday, by the way. So they had a little different of a playlist going on. So to build their own energy as an offense, I thought particularly was good, just because we've seen the defense kind of take over a lot of these practices.
What's fascinating about them having the weekend off too is everybody traveled, from my understanding, unless there's one or two guys that stay back. But there was also the guys that were inactive, the starters, also had to go get a workout in before the game too. They ended up going, I think, to a college on the road to go get a workout in. So it wasn't like they just laid around and just chilled. No, they were on schedule to go work out at a college before the game kicked off, which is very unique because you know how it is. You take a day off or you don't do something, it really does set you back. So to have them still engaged and on the sideline and get some work done this past Saturday is a big-time bonus, man. I've always kind of seen that from the Titans. They're one of the few teams I've seen that really works out their inactives on game day and also guys who are on practice squad and stuff like that. That's very unique, and it may be more it may be to their advantage to do stuff like that.
And I wonder what had changed from last year when they didn't take the guys on the road for the preseason games. And I think I had mentioned that to you guys. When I saw that they had brought everyone, it excited me, because I love how the guys, the veterans, are on the sideline, coaching them up, bringing some energy to the rookies in the game. I think they should bring them. But again, they didn't do that last year. So I was I was like, I wonder what changed.
You did see a lot of veteran coaching, though, from the players, and that's what you want in those moments. Like you said, that's good because nothing does a young player justice other than knowing that an older guy liked what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Really is.
What was that like for you, Ramon, in preseason when you weren't super active for a preseason game? Like, when did you get to the point where you weren't playing in preseason, or did you?
Probably by year 4.
Okay.
Yeah, year 4 after establishing being a starter, you get a series in, but it's really the same way that the Titans did this past weekend. If we can get over 10 plays on the first 2 drives, we're done. So in those moments, you go to the locker room, take your shoulder pads off, and really you have to stay out of the way because nothing excites a football player than getting your work done and being on the sideline chilling, knowing I can eat C's and drink Gatorade on the sideline. But our coach used to challenge us, stay engaged, watch these young guys. You never know who's going to be somebody to help us out in those moments. So why are you going to play on the sideline or not be engaged with what they're actually doing? So you'd have assignments to watch guys. Hey, watch the left side over here, please, for me. Hey, if you see something, say something to one of the young guys because, again, your knowledge of seeing stuff is way different than anything they've ever done in their lives. And it usually is 1 or 2 gems of those other, let's say, 10 guys that you can pull something out of and say, hey, look, we can use him if we focus in and help him get a little bit better. I love doing that type of stuff, though, because you see the young guys gain that confidence because the veterans are there for you. You can't really mess around like that. You really got to stay out of the way, though, Will.
So how much are you, observing? I think a lot of people talk about this just in sports when they're injured, about how much of a different perspective you get when you're not on the field and in the heat of it. Are you really even locked in enough in preseason to get anything out of it in that way, or are you just trying to encourage the guys who are on the field?
Trying to encourage them because, again, they're so vanilla with what's been thrown out there to them. You just want to see them ball. If something is egregious, bro, you can't get beat like that, then you got to say something. But it's also one of them situations, and I'll be honest with you, me having to stay engaged with the actual 90 that are on the roster is something that's new to me too, because when you know you're going to make the team, it's okay, there's 20 plus people in here that's not going to make this team. So it's hard for me to just sell out for a guy when I know he's probably not going to make the team. If there's something I can assist him with, I will. That's something that I had just kind of disconnected myself from, essentially in a point to be like, why pour in when I know that guy's not going to make the team? It sucks to say that type of stuff. But if there's a lineman I know has an opportunity to make the practice squad or he is actually fighting for a battle, I'll say something to a guy. Like Hubbard was one of those dudes. Early on, you can tell, all right, he going to have an opportunity. And I've had numerous other guys I've seen come through there. Chris Scott, former Vol. He was another one of those guys. I got to stay locked in for Chris because Chris can make this team. Right. But it is a lot of guys that are just – it sucks, but it's the business, are camp bodies.
Would anybody come? I'm always curious of this, just kind of the confidence some of these younger guys have to come up to you at some point in training camp and pick your brain, because I would think a lot of them would be like, I'm just going to stay away.
No, and that's the thing. A lot of young guys, when you go to battle with them every single day in camp, you do get that relationship with them. You do have the ability to be wide open. It was like, hey, man, that was a bad rep right there. Hey, if you continue to do this, you're going to win this. The communication is always going to be there. It's a matter of how much that guy exposes themselves to you, and also this too, y'all, the confidence that they have in themselves. Yeah. It's so many times you see guys who can go, but they reserve themselves to thinking they're less than. I'm like, no, you've cut yourself before we even got to the cut date. And those are the ones, like you say, you unlock from. Why would I be engaged in you when you won't even give yourself a shake? I've seen guys that, like MPF this past weekend, he got 17 reps. Some guys have been on the sideline playing around, chilling, not really being engaged in the game, joking like we're in middle school and stuff like that. Like those 17 reps at NPF may not be nothing because he's going to be on this team.
Sure.
But for a dude that really needs to make a roster, you need to be engaged and take every series, every rep right. And NPF situation does kind of remind me of the young guys that wouldn't take it serious, though, too, because get in, false start. Then have a couple pressures here and there.
But did he engage on the sideline
after?
after?
He was engaged. I will say this,
Yeah.
the entire time NPF was walking up and down trying to get himself together. Like, there was a lot of engagement from him. So I think the false start might have been the cadence that he's used to with Tannehill or his nerves.
Sure.
But when you're in his position, you can't afford that right
No,
now.
you can't.
I thought it was not the best day for NPF.
It was
Nope,
not.
it was not.
And the entire struggles of the second and third groups at offensive line were beyond just having worked together. They're just getting beat.
They were.
Like one-on-one, over and over and over. And for me, watching this game back over the weekend, I don't think you can really take anything completely tangible away about the quarterbacks because the offensive line was so dreadful. They didn't give him a chance. I mean, Will Levis, the internal clock's got to speed up a little bit on a couple of occasions. Will Levis and Malik Willis each had some inaccurate throws. Will Levis on the last drive where he's got a chance to move the chains on an off-balance throw and hits a guy's fingertips who didn't really get out of his break quickly enough, and that's communication. And then Malik Willis's interception that he's throwing over Josh Wiley's head. Josh Wiley's a big dude. That's a hard guy to overthrow over his head.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it hit his fingertips on that one as well, but you can't have that in the red zone. So the only real takeaway you can have about this offense is they turned the ball over far too much. But it's disappointing that the guy that's supposed to be your starting right tackle was a part of that problem. And if NBF's not careful, he's not going to get that job back when he comes back from suspension.
We spoke about that yesterday. I mean, I legit asked Ramon. I said, could you see an incidents where Chris Hubbard wins the job, obviously, is the starter here for the next 6 games, and then does a good job, a solid job, and they're having the cohesiveness that they need on that line that you talk about, Ramon, all the time. And then you have MPF like, okay, my 6 games are up. Like, I'm ready to go. But in my eyes, that could be a big issue.
It could be, Kayla. It really could. Like, that is a strong moment that's going to have to happen at some point here. Barn, if Chris stays healthy and plays well, Chris Hubbard, that is, stay healthy and play well, and honestly, Kayla, builds a relationship with Daniel Brunskill. Like, that's the other portion of it, too, is you got to learn how Chris is stepping or how MPF is stepping, how we combo block certain things, and how we communicate. If they are flowing the way you expect them to or the way they did in that first series, it was one series in the preseason. I get all that. But if it stays the same, Kayla, it's not automatic that NPF gets his job back. Again, he's at a very fragile point right now. So, one, you got a veteran that's played in this league alongside a guard veteran with a team that does stuff well, usually. And the fact that you are young in this league also with not many, just emotional deposits in Vrabel's heart. You know what I'm saying? A new offensive line coach. Why would I change because you put yourself behind the 8 ball? Like, that's a real conversation that has to happen. Like, and the harder MPF tries to go take that spot, the more he might have situations like that happened this past Saturday where he's jumping off sides. And truthfully, he should feel that pressure. Right, wrong, or indifferent, the betting thing that happened, it sucks. It really does. Clearly, they weren't transparent with what the rules were supposed to be. And he didn't bet on NFL games, but it happened, Kayla.
Yep, it did.
Terrible.
And we talked about this a lot this offseason, that almost every rookie tackle is going to have a rough rookie season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even the ones that end up being outstanding, it's a difficult process to transition into. But that transition doesn't just happen. You have to be on the field and work. You have to be available. Mm-hmm. And that's why this comes at the worst possible time for Nicholas Petit-Frere's NFL future. Maybe the worst would be if this happened during his rookie season, but the second worst possible time is now. You got to be on the field. You don't just make that jump just by being a participant in the NFL. You got to work at it, understand what mistakes you made in year one. So I thought that was a little disappointing just coming off of the Bears' performance in that game. Malik Willis did have a decent start to yesterday's practice. He completed his first 3 passes to Nick Westbrook-Akine, Reggie Roberson, and Trayshawn Harrison. who we've got to talk about him too. Another guy that flashed against the Chicago Bears, and I think is making that wide receiver battle very interesting as we go into Minnesota this weekend. But Malik finished the day 10 of 17 and 7-on-7 in team periods combined, and had another interception in a red zone drill. Guys, the takeaways have got to be honed in this week and this weekend against the Minnesota Vikings, because that is the takeaway from the offense is can't turn the ball over that many times. And I know Tim Kelly was adamant about that yesterday, as he should be.
Yeah. And cornerback Trey Avery is the one who intercepted him. By the way, has looked really good. Kind of carried what he was doing in practice into the game against Chicago. We talked to him yesterday a little bit, but he's making plays, and this is what you got to do this time of the year when you're in a crowded kind of secondary too. There's a lot of bodies there that are trying to make this team. But yeah, Malik, I think that's the one thing that will bug Mike Vrabel. I mean, we heard it when Ryan Tannehill had his interception year, right? The turnovers and not taking care of the ball, especially when you're down there in the red zone. You just can't continue to make those mistakes.
No, you can't. And he's got both of the quarterbacks have to learn the importance of what the football is. You don't just get second opportunities. Like, one turnover is a loss of possession, because team defenses in the NFL are usually pretty good. You have to count those possessions. It's only so many that you're going to have. And to throw one to the other side, not acceptable at all, Kayla. And you're right. They have to press this situation, because if this in this moment in time, it really takes away from the guys who are actually still trying to make the team if you cut those offensive series short too. Think about the wide receivers that we're talking about that don't get opportunities because you're careless with the ball. Like Josh Wiley's interception. Like, that would have been a real big game for them in the red zone in that moment right there, had he just brought the ball down just a little bit. Understanding what the processes is when it comes down to actually being a pro. Like, take something off, hit him in the chest just enough to continue to move in the chains. Like, it's those things. So Tim Kelly should be on their necks about that, Kayla, especially when these opportunities are short and you're a lesser game right now in preseason.
Yeah, that's another one. Yep.
I'm going to throw in one more detail from yesterday's practice that I didn't love. Indoors, this practice.
Yep.
And at the end of red zone, Caleb Shudak was short from 53 yards.
Yep.
Indoors.
I don't know if this team's kicker is on the roster yet. Fair? Unfair?
It's fair, Will.
Trey Wolf, not super impressive so far. Caleb Shudak was fine in camp. And, guys, I mean, there are a lot of kickers that at least have plenty of leg from 55 plus in today's NFL. If we're talking 10 years ago, okay, maybe you can be short from 53. With the way this offense operates, I know they're good in the red zone. When they get there, you need a kicker that has the leg to hit from 53. Indoors especially. I know it's one day. Not everyone should be judged on their whole NFL future just based on one rep at one practice. I get it. But that's pretty bad.
Well, Will, and Trey Wolf missed one in the preseason game.
He was wide from 50 as well, Trey Wolf yesterday.
He was yesterday too.
Yeah, so he's got kind of a little bit of a loss of momentum the last couple of days.
And the kickoff. I mean, the procedure penalty on the second half kickoff.
Was that Trey? That was Trey Wolf on that one. Goodness.
Yeah.
It's
why is there
concerning.
always a kicker kind of, I guess, storyline?
It's a new problem this franchise was not accustomed to before. Really, Ryan Suckup. I mean, Rob Baronis was maybe the best kicker in the NFL in his day. 60 yards. Yeah. At the buzzer.
After, what was it again?
They had Del Greco, Joe Nedney was here, Rob Baronis, and Ryan Suckup.
And then Suckup. And after Suckup left, it kind of became the storylines.
Yeah.
To start the season.
Coming up, college football headlines yesterday as the top 25 poll is out. There's a group of 4 teams that interest me where Tennessee is a part of this list. I think they're misplaced in this list. We'll get to that coming up next year as Hour 1 continues. I'm on Caitlin and Will.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme values on diamond engagement rings. It's coming to an end, y'all. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get that price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring. Response has been incredible, and people have driven hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis amazing everyday value. We're talking values you never thought possible, from a half a carat to 20 carat diamonds, all handpicked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world. That's the GIA. So don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners at diamond dealers shopping alongside you if you go up there. They'll have rounds, radiants, pear shapes, ovals, princess cuts, cushion cuts, emerald cuts. Genesis has the largest GIA diamond ring selection you've ever seen. And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. It's limit one per customer. Please get the Genesis, no middleman, direct importer price, minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Tuesday morning on RKW continues, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is our number. We'll hear from Aaron Brewer, Titans center, talking about the success of the offensive line, at least the first team offensive line, on Saturday in Soldier Field with Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, I'm Will Bowling. Hear that coming up in 15 minutes. But we've got an AP poll. Any surprises from the people yesterday as the first top 25 poll drops, and we get a little bit closer to college football?
I think it's about as fair. Well, I'll say this. I ain't tripping off Tennessee being 12.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
even
care,
a little bit.
right?
Yeah, I'd much rather sit in that world than to be in that top 10. I'd rather just people get knocked off or we knock folks off. I don't know how much or how long LSU's going to stay in. I have questions about that. Penn State. I was side-eyed that one a little bit. Just a little bit. And what's up with the emergence of Florida State?
Good transfer class.
Yeah,
Good
and that's
transfer
been
class.
kind of building.
It has been.
Yeah.
I just didn't know it was going to translate into a top 10
Sure.
preseason bowl, polling.
And look, I vote, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard for me sometimes because I'm not the biggest preseason. This is, this is what it's going to be. It's tough sometimes because a lot of the time you're looking kind of off of what they did last year, what pieces they lose, pieces they add, let's say. And that's what kind of helps, at least me, mold my choices. I remember Teresa Walker talking to me yesterday, who we had on the show at practice, and she was a little fired up, though, about Clemson being ahead of Tennessee.
Was she really?
She was.
I'm glad she was.
She was.
I didn't want to hate on them. No, screw it. It's Clemson. We beat them already, man. That was questionable. But Clemson also has the national draw more recently than Tennessee does.
They do.
More recently than Utah does. You know what I'm saying? And that one was very interesting. Dabo gets the benefit of the doubt on this one. And I guess expect with this quarterback having more experience and they had a nice recruiting class, they're supposed to bounce back.
By the way, one quick clarification. Caleb Shudak was the kicker that kicked it out of bounds in Chicago, not Trey Wolf. One quick
so it was
correction to
Shudak.
make
Both
on the
of
last
them had
segment.
bad days.
That's right.
Yeah.
But going back to the top 25 rankings, so Florida State was the 6th best transfer recruiting class in the country this past year. LSU was second. Obviously, that indicative of their ranking in the top 10 as well, way up there. But Colorado was the team with the number 1 transfer class. It's funny. LSU had the second best with 14 transfers. Colorado had 50 transfers.
Huh? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, because he
course.
kicked
Dion.
half of them out.
He kicked off 63 players.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. The group of 4 teams that includes Tennessee, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Clemson, Washington, and Texas are all ahead of Tennessee. I get it, but I don't really. I would have Tennessee probably 9th in that group of 4 teams. Texas with Quinn Ewers. I mean, yes, he comes back for this season. Steve Sarkisian has spoken about him being the guy, being the quarterback 1 of that team. And September 9th, we're going to find out all about what Texas is about when they go to Tuscaloosa and face Alabama. So, again, no issue with these things because they kind of play themselves out over the first 2-3 weeks of the season. But Clemson, Washington, and Texas ahead of Tennessee was just a little bit of a surprise.
So I'll say this with that. I know that when you look at those teams, I'm not really going to put Clemson in there, but UW and Texas, and you had mentioned Quinn Ewers and Washington with their offense last year, the momentum they gained and having Michael Penix Jr. back. I think you kind of know what you're getting out of that quarterback. With Tennessee, there are still people out there that are like, okay, is Joe Milton going to be able to be the guy? We're all thinking he can be, but I think there's a little bit of like hesitancy until he actually goes out there and is a consistent force for them. So I think maybe that gave the benefit of the doubt to a few other teams that have had quarterbacks that are back.
That's fair. And
That's the
truthfully,
way only way I can look at it.
I look at Washington State. Oh, not Washington State.
Oh, I wish.
No. I look at their schedule though, and I say we will see what they're made of. I guess when Tulsa's usually pretty solid, and then they got to go to Michigan State in week 3.
Yeah.
That one's going to be fascinating. Michigan State had a down year last year. Bad year. Did they not? I'm actually expecting some get back from them this year just because their coach broke off, after that nice season that they had. And that's going to be fascinating to see what it looks like for them in the week 3. I can see them being out of the top 10 sooner than probably any other team. Top 10, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that teams that have proven it year in and year out over the last 5 years get the benefit of the doubt specifically in preseason polling because voters that maybe are just now getting back into the swing of voting again are just like, okay, who's been at the top over the last 5 years? There's no way Clemson should be ranked ahead of Tennessee.
Yeah.
No chance.
You know what complicates, I know we're coming up on it, what complicates it to me is following the transfer portal. Like, who really got impact players in the portal, or did you just take on bodies?
Did you just get right?
You
know?
100%. No, I think it's fair.
Yeah.
I think Clemson's, though, the confidence in them has less to do with their personnel and more to do with Garrett Riley being their offensive coordinator, coming over from TCU. That's what the Clemson love is all about.
Okay.
Plus Cade Klubnik at quarterback, which, I mean, for all the things we know about him, we also know that he lost to Joe Milton in the Orange Bowl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where I think Clemson, you're right, Kayla, it's hard to make a really good case for them other than just being better over the last decade than Tennessee.
Yep.
But there's human error in these things, and that's why we love it.
And that's why we love it.
Coming up in hour 2, Aaron Brewer talks after practice about the confidence the starting offensive line gained from week 1 of preseason in Chicago. We'll get to that coming up next. We'll be joined by Bill Connelly of ESPN.com, talking college football as well at 7:20. You can join us in the meantime at 615-737-1045 as hour 2 begins coming up next.
What's going on? 7:01 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. The Titans have added a familiar face to the roster in defensive lineman Kyle Pico. Pico was added to replace defensive lineman Shaquille Brown, who was injured against the Chicago Bears. The Titans have placed him on injured reserve, effectively ending his season. Pico spent time with the Titans back in 2021 and played in 8 games with the team. He put up 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, and a forced fumble. But to bring back a familiar face, they had to get rid of one, prompting the wave of defensive back Chris Jackson. The former 2020 7th-round pick played in 24 games for the Titans and added 6 starts along with it. Christian Fulton is now the only remaining member of the 2020 draft class. The Titans also activated safety Josh Thompson from the physically unable to perform list. Thompson played in 6 games for the Titans last year, playing exclusively on special teams and registering 83 snaps. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 on a Tuesday morning edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors as we talk college football coming up in 20 minutes. ESPN's Bill Connelly will join us a couple days after writing a big article on the players that will affect the college football playoff the most this season. And the Tennessee Vol is on the top of that list. Joe Milton at number 1. We'll talk to Bill about that coming up here at 7:20. 615-737-1045 is how you join us. In the meantime, the us being Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Robert Walsh. I'm Will Bowling. We've got some audio from Aaron Brewer as the Titans get back on the practice field yesterday and head up to Minneapolis next. Practices tomorrow and Thursday against the Minnesota Vikings. 1 hour down, 3 to go. How are we feeling, everybody?
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
How are you
Ramon is
feeling?
performing the rest of the show under protest.
I am.
Are you a Ravens fan, I heard?
Certain words that Bert can do with his little computer machine back there, and certain stuff he
Sounded
can do.
80 years old.
Yeah, I wanted to, okay, because he's doing certain things with words back there, and that's all that was. I don't know if anything is real on this show anymore.
That was really interesting. It's like The Blind Side. Was it really real? Nope.
Way to go, Kayla. Way to go.
Putting that together was like a fugitive ransom note where I had to piece together so many things. At one point, you said, I'm a raving fan of something, so I took raving, took the G off,
funny.
had to take another S from you, add that to the end.
What?
It was a labor of love, but it accomplished my goal.
That's incredible.
I told y'all. I knew it, man.
It's on site.
It's on site. Meet me in the parking lot, okay? That's where I'm at with you, Bert. That was good. That was solid. I figured it wasn't me saying it. It was me saying it, but I didn't say that sentence or that statement as he put it out there for everybody.
Prove it.
So Ron Slay, prove it. If Slay doesn't love two-tone moan, then how's he going to feel about you being made out to be a Ravens fan when he gets here at 9:20 this morning?
I got no idea, man. He probably heard it too this morning.
I hope he heard it.
I did too. That's crazy, Bert. You good. You too good at this, man. You too good at this, dude.
It's pretty fun.
Grow
What can
up.
I say?
Nothing now.
Do you guys get anxious for these openings? I love them. I don't even care what I say. I think it's great.
I wouldn't say
That's me
anxious.
too.
Yeah.
I
Just
anticipate.
curious.
I'm anxious putting them together. It's like a
That's
class
bet.
presentation where it's like, ooh, I hope they like it. I hope they like my trifold poster.
Right?
Oh, the trifold poster.
Oh,
was-
I loved those.
Man, do you remember asking your mom the night of,
Yep.
and you had to be like, hey, can we go to CVS?
Yep.
I need a poster board.
Why? I have a I have a project due tomorrow. Tomorrow? It's 7:30.
To be married? Literally.
I was hoping I wasn't the only one that was a last-minute project kid. Oof. I was.
Absolutely.
Mine was, I didn't want to spend my mom's money on stuff I felt like was just outside things, Like, we didn't have a whole lot growing up, like a lot of people. I'm not going to make this a me thing, but I'd be like, them posters were like $5 at the time. Then you had to get, like, extra stuff. So I was conscious of, like, not spending money. I'd much rather have gotten a bad grade than to spend money on a poster board and shit. All you're doing is just ruining it anyway.
Shoving it in the back of the car.
Exactly. And then it'll look like this at the end of the project, just folded up 50 times.
Mm-hmm. The one for me was always at the beginning of school. This changed towards the end of my schooling career, that you had to have something printed. And if you had an essay or a research paper, it had to be printed, stapled. Like I had teachers that would like dock you points if it wasn't stapled, because then it was like confusing and it would get mixed up with all the other kids. Also, the biggest scam was if there wasn't page numbers, then you would get docked points. Like what you know what number it is? Why am I helping you not be lazy?
Those are the same teachers that are like, can I go to the bathroom? I don't know. Can you?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to pee on the floor in here, lady.
May I go to the bathroom?
And live from New York, it's Saturday night. Just because you didn't make it in your bad comedy career doesn't mean I have to suffer. But it would be like, hey, you gotta make sure this is printed, and you had like a month to write this long 8-page paper or whatever. But you waited till the morning before you're leaving for school, like the morning you're getting out the door. And it's like, you got to leave by 7. You're trying to print out these pages at 6:50. And that's always the time where the ink cartridge is not full or you're out of paper or the printer just explodes. And you would just have it on a thumb drive, be going around to people in the school, like, can I print this somewhere?
Yep.
Hey, can I print this in here real quick?
Sounds so familiar.
So then it got to the point at the end of my educational career where teachers would let you email it to them. And that was nice. Or my teachers would be like, oh, just email it to me right now, and as long as it's in by this time, you're good. That was great.
I hated the transfer from handing things in paper because I was the kid that shoved everything in my book bag. I was not good at doing the online.
I thought you said you were going to get a paper cut.
I know, right, Kayla?
Well, Aaron Brewer and the Titans starting offensive line was essentially giving paper cuts to the starting defensive line for the Chicago Bears. Not my best transition, but on paper, it wasn't that bad. Aaron Brewer spoke with Kayla after practice yesterday. We're so back. And talked about the confidence they gained and also what he was looking for afterwards and maybe moving on a little bit from a bad performance for the backups. This was Aaron Brewer yesterday.
Running up to the line of scrimmage, keep driving out the ball, keep protecting, and keep doing what we do.
Any advice you give to the guys behind you on the O-line after their first week?
You gotta have short-term memory. It wasn't just the cleanest Saturday, so just learn from it and move on to the next. You can't do nothing but the past. The only thing you can control is what's going on right now. So,
Aaron, I know you weren't out there for a long time, but in that preseason game, just seeing that first, string offensive line, how you guys gelled, were you happy with what you saw from the guys?
Absolutely. That was 13 plays with a touchdown, so it don't really get no better than that. I was very proud of what we put on the field.
What's it been like just being able to build that chemistry? You've got Chris now, who looks to be coming into his own at right tackle. Yeah.
Nah, that's great. I love Chris out there. And just what we came to, just from the spring, all of us, we from different places. We got the rookie, 3 different vets on the line, and I've been here. So, it's just been an experience. Us just building together. We still building every day. So, it's been good.
When you say and hear joint practices, what comes to mind with that type of work?
Just joint practice coming up. Just compete. Just competition, violence, and do what we do.
What can you really learn from yourselves as a line, and what do you want to learn up there in Minnesota?
What we need to learn from? I don't know. We're going to find that as we go. We're going to try to put our identity on the field, and nobody perfect. So we're going to have our little slip-ups. So whatever we have our slip-ups on out there, just learn from the next day and improve.
There's Titans center Aaron Brewer. We got joint practices coming up.
I know.
Wow.
You talking about joint practices?
Talking about joint practices? He sound like he's from Texas, too.
I love Brew. Yeah. I will say I've really been impressed with just how he's taken it upon himself to be, leader on that line.
Yeah.
He just seems like he loves football so much, and you should, obviously, if you're playing it. But every time you talk to him about the offensive line, he seems to be getting more and more confident in saying, like, yeah, we are really finding ourselves. And you could kind of hear that in that clip.
It was good. He sounded comfortable and understanding what their dynamic is as an offensive line too. 3 veterans, a rookie, and a new guy coming in, and he's been there is what he said. That's solid. Sometimes finding that right mix to an OL, man, maybe you got to shuffle some stuff around. I know NPF is the cloud that hangs over everything moving forward, but I'm just glad Brew is in a position right now to just kind of say, we got to roll with what we got right now. And I feel comfortable in those situations too, or he does. Fascinating. Him being at center, I think, is going to do a lot of good for this Titans team. It really will. Going from Ben to him, a guy that's been here, understand what it takes, and Tannehill has a trust with already. I thought the operation of him was solid on Saturday. So him being at center is a good thing, y'all.
I think it certainly needs to be with the lack of continuity you have everywhere else. Aaron Brewer finding himself at the intersection of talent and projectability and continuity, right? You need a player to be cohesive with the rest of that group, but not to a point where they're just not good enough, right? I mean, you can understand what the offensive line wants to do, but you might not be good enough to execute it. Aaron Brewer needs to be good enough to execute it because I think he clearly knows what he needs to do at the center position. He's the guy that needs a jump as much as anybody in this entire roster, considering the question marks you have around him at guard and at tackle. That's an important dude for this offense.
He is.
Very important dude. Coming up, Bill Connelly of ESPN.com joins us. Clemson, Texas, and Washington are all ranked ahead of Tennessee in the first AP poll. Does that make sense to him the way it maybe doesn't make sense to me? Plus, Joe Milton is the player who could most impact the 2023 college football playoff. Interesting stuff, as always, from Bill Connelly of ESPN.com. Coming up next.
When it comes to large home repairs, a lot of the time we homeowners pretend we don't see the warning signs. We're afraid of what we're going to hear. This is especially true with waterproofing and foundation repair. It could be something big that needs to be fixed now, or it could be a small problem that'll become bigger later, or it could be nothing at all. Bottom line, we don't know, and we certainly don't want to be sold something we don't need. What we need is a peace of mind, and United Structural Systems is the company to give that. They have over 25,100% satisfied residential customers, and here's how they have made that happen. When USS comes out to your house, you're getting problem solvers who provide a peace of mind to their customers, the homeowner. You're not getting someone who is worried about meeting a sales quota or upselling the next big thing, but someone there to educate you and help you understand what's happening with your home. At USS, their only measure of success is how satisfied the homeowner is and not a closing ratio. This is who you want doing your repair work, and this is who you want to call if you ever do need to use them or use your warranty. This company cares, and this is a company you can trust. They guarantee their best every single time, keeping homes dry and stable for a very long time in our community. USS, they're serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. You can reach them online at USSTN.com or call them 615-488-7855.
Tuesday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. As we go to the phones talking college football with ESPN's Bill Connelly this morning on the show. And Bill, as always, I'm restraining myself from just talking soccer with you. I know we could probably fill a whole segment, just the two of us doing that on the day of a Leagues Cup semifinal in Nashville. But we will stick to the college football this morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready. I'm ready for Leagues Cup. I'm ready for Premier League. Whatever you want to throw at me, we can do it.
I was going to say, no, Bill, go on, let him have it, man. Listen, go on, fill his cup up with a little soccer minute here, man, because he is geeked up about this match tonight. Do I even say match? What do I call it?
Match. You're right.
Call it match. Okay.
Perfectly fine. Bill, a top 25 poll out yesterday that we'll certainly get to in college football, but wanted to start with the article you had last week about players who could impact the college football playoff the most this season. You've got Joe Milton at number one. Ultimately, what made that decision for you on him being the guy that impacts the CFP race more than anybody?
Yeah, I mean, basically there are two guys, Joe Milton and Drew Aller, who fulfill every role you need fulfilled. They could be a spoiler quarterback because they're playing other contenders, obviously, and they have enough upside to do damage there. And if they reach the ceiling that we already know they have, they could be a lot more than spoilers. They could insert themselves into the race in some way. And you know, I've said it all off season. Like, we know the downside of investing heavily in Joe Milton. Like, we've seen, he's ended up on the bench twice after earning starting jobs. He takes a lot of sacks. He takes his time sometimes finding the guy he wants to throw to, and it gets him into trouble. But if it clicks, I mean, guys usually don't get third chances, and he's getting one. And if it clicks, we already saw the upside against Clemson in the Orange Bowl last year. We saw some of the downside too, because 4 sacks or whatever. But the upside here is absolutely enormous, especially in that offense, and especially with the weapons he's going to have. So I don't think there's anything more fun for college football in 2023 than the thought of Joe Milton clicking and playing at a Heisman level or something. That's going to be that would certainly be something to watch.
ESPN's Bill Connelly with us. And Bill, I think it's interesting from Tennessee's perspective when on paper you have as much turnover as they do. You would expect all the metrics, the analytics, and just the analysis to dock them a few points in that category, right? But the nature of Josh Heupel's offense, does that kind of overcome that turnover, so to speak, where, yes, you have totally new wide receivers on the field, but that didn't really hurt him too much in the Orange Bowl against Clemson last year either, when a lot of those new faces were making new impacts that day as well?
Yeah, I mean, number one, when you were number one in offensive SP plus last year and you lose your quarterback, you're only going to fall so far, right? That's and so they're projected to fall, quote unquote, to third on offense. But I think one of the funny things, just the way my returning production formula works, the fact that they already played without Cedric Tillman half the year, and other guys got more reps in that, McCoy, Keaton, et cetera. They already kind of matched his stats to a certain degree. McCoy exceeded them, so. In that regard, it doesn't really feel like a brand new receiving core with the amount of production that McCoy and Keaton and Squirrel White's going to have the most unbelievable year this year. I'm very excited about him just filling that role. Josh Heupel slot receivers always average like 20 yards a catch and are among the most fun players in the country. So yeah, on paper it doesn't even look as much turnover as it feels, and that's a good thing from a projection standpoint.
There's a few quarterbacks in college this year I feel like have to prove more than what they've actually done so far. With Joe Milton, that group is KJ Jefferson, Spencer Rattler, Michael Penix Jr., and maybe even Jaden Daniels. What's to be made of this group of 4 right here that's got a lot really riding on their backs?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tricky for KJ Jefferson, I think. He noticed that at Maryland was a pretty quick passing kind of coordinator, and I'm sure he'll take advantage of the giant backfield he's got at his disposal. But a coordinator change at this point. Their defense wasn't very good last year. Their schedule's always hard, so it is going to be kind of tricky for him to figure out how to take a step forward, I guess, for Arkansas. But I mean, you're right. Jaden Daniels was pretty high on my list too in terms of important quarterbacks, because we already know, he plays his game and he's really, really good at it. He's hard to hit. He's going to scramble around. He's going to, the LSU had just about the most efficient offense in the country last year. But we also know that he's got really good receivers in it. They figure out how to make just a couple more big plays in a given game. It's pretty well contained, getting a first down by 1 yard and starting over. There aren't just a ton of chunk plays. If they figure out a couple more big plays, they're going to be really scary and a very heavy threat to win the West again.
If we didn't have so much of a halo over the quarterback position, could we project Brock Bowers or Marvin Harrison Jr. winning the Heisman this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I do. They come into the season with a certain level of hype where if there isn't an obvious quarterback candidate here, if Caleb Williams, drops off just enough. We know we raised the bar for repeats, and we almost never have a repeat. But you're right. I mean, so many of the other top teams are breaking in new quarterbacks that, in theory, maybe this is a year for a non-quarterback to stand out a little bit. And if somebody's going to, it's going to be those two because they are pretty unbelievable. I don't know. I mean, it's so funny. We just put out our ESPN top 100 players list. And I think Bowers was number 2. Tight end is number 2. That's not something I can remember happening, and it's not exactly hard to justify because of the skill set he's shown. So curious what his ceiling is, but I think Marvin Harrison could absolutely put the stats up to stand out.
Bill Connelly of ESPN. And Bill, you also wrote a great article on breakthroughs and bounce backs. We just were discussing the AP poll, and Ramon said, gosh, Florida State, getting some love, and they've built some momentum along with, kind of the emergence back of USC. Can these two programs specifically keep building on this momentum and become powerhouses like they once were?
Yeah, I think I feel a hair better about USC just because we know they're going to have, if Caleb Williams is on the field, they're going to have one of the 2 or 3 best offenses in the country. Mm-hmm. And because they still won, 11 games last year with a dreadful defense. That is, they're still not going to have a good defense this year, but they don't have to. If they have like a top 50 defense, they're going to be a contender to finish, 12-1 or so. And I think they can maybe hit that, getting Bear Alexander in there, getting Mason Cobb, the linebacker transfer from Oklahoma State. They're going to be a lot tougher this year on defense, even if that system still isn't very good. So I'm pretty excited about them. I think they can, anytime you talk yourself into a USC or a Texas or whatever, you realize you're stepping on the same rake you've stepped on 30 times. But I certainly like USC a lot more than I did this time last year. As far as Florida State, yeah, I mean, they weren't very good the first half of the season. Mm-hmm. Things clicked for them really nicely over that 6-game winning streak at the end. But they got to show a little more offensive consistency, and they got to defend the run a lot better than they did last year. They got pushed around at times. So I think they have a bar they can clear. I think I trust USC to maybe clear it a little bit more if we're talking about, top 10 expectations and whatnot.
Isn't it kind of ironic, though, Bill, that, with all this new conference realignment, the Pac-12 has now diminished, which don't get me started on that. But the Pac-12 this year is going to be pretty legit with, you look at the quarterbacks up and down the conference, and then, it blows up. It's very weird, right?
Yeah, and it stinks, too. Just the simple fact that, they have, 5 of the best quarterbacks in the country, 4 or 5 of the best quarterbacks. Just the entertainment potential here is going to be off the charts this year. They got 6 teams that think they can make the Pac-12 championship game. And every single broadcast at some point is going to, shift to, hey, all these teams are leaving. And that stinks. There's going to be a little dark cloud associated with all the fun we're having watching the teams play. And yeah, that's never optimal. And yeah, don't get me started on the moves either. This one hit me pretty hard and I don't even know why, but it hit me pretty hard this time in realignment.
Bill Connelly with us this morning on RKW. Bill, a team ranked ahead of Tennessee that I think turned some heads around here in the preseason AP poll was a team that was 93rd in yards per attempt on offense last season. And that's why they brought Garrett Riley in to be their new offensive coordinator with Cade Klubnik and Clemson, looking for a little bit of an offensive renaissance this season. Can you make sense of just why they were placed ahead of Tennessee other than just, hey, they've been better over the last 10 years and are a safer pick for a lot of voters?
Yeah, I think maybe, the AP poll, the funny thing about the AP poll in specific is, some voters are treating it like a power ranking. Some
Sure.
are basically trying to project forward to the end of the season. And I mean, you could certainly make a case that at the end of the season, Clemson's going to have a better record than Tennessee because their schedule's quite a bit easier overall. So, I mean, I didn't necessarily read a ton into Clemson being ahead of Tennessee. I did think, when you look at my SP Plus projections versus the AP poll, Tennessee being 12th was pretty low. Like that's, we don't completely know what they've got on defense, I guess. But I mean, SP Plus still had them 8th overall. So that, comparing those two, it's more about Tennessee than Clemson, I think. And there was a good case for the Vols to be a little bit higher, I think.
Bill, from the SEC perspective as well at Georgia, is Carson Beck the most underrated Heisman Trophy pick? If you're a betting guy at the beginning of the season, it just feels like we mentioned Brock Bowers and just the weapons that he has around him. Feels like the floor has got to be pretty high for him. What do you see from Georgia at the quarterback position this season?
Yeah, we always focus on the guys we know, and then it's like how many times does the first-time starter win the Heisman?
Right.
It's pretty frequent over the last 10, 11 years. So, if you kind of read into the practice reports a little bit at Alabama and Ohio State, two of the surest spots in the country as far as quarterback play goes, you can get a little nervous about those schools and maybe cast your gaze towards Carson Beck at that point because of everything he inherits. I mean, coordinator change there too. I did not love, after the what ended up being an incredibly progressive hire in Monken there at Georgia, bringing in an old friend. I mean, I guess if he's calling from the same playbook, it doesn't even matter. But I didn't love that hire, and I think they've got a little bit of something to prove there, even if the rest of the team is so good that it doesn't matter. But you're right in that thinking. Like a new quarterback for a team that's probably going to be in the top 5. It's going to be a safe bet that they're going to get some Heisman looks.
Bill, as far as this era of football, college football that we're in right now, it's a matter of, what you believe and what actually comes out of everybody's recruiting. One in particular right now with NIL is Michael Orr's situation and the selling of his rights, man. Do you think we'll see more of these types of things of just kids being taken advantage of or just not understanding what you're getting yourselves into?
Yeah, it's going to be – I guess I could go either way. On one hand, you don't end up needing to follow the stories of people who say, come with me and, we'll treat you really well if NIL is going to end up with you getting a lot of money anyway. But that's not a great line of logic, I don't think, because we already had a kind of a lot of, agents, quote unquote, involved, not professional agents, but, uncles and random family friends and whatnot who are kind of inserting themselves into this whole NIL process. And that's probably an opportunity for the wrong people taking advantage of other people. And, that's something that's always been a little bit of an issue in college football, even if the blindside story was particularly unique in that regard. Yeah, it's always been an issue, and I don't see it changing when there's more money floating around, among other things.
Bill, when you look at the SEC and the coaches in it right now, obviously some coaches that are having a lot of success, but some coach or one coach in particular that maybe you have your eye on that could be on the hot seat just in terms of the production this year if they don't get to that level?
In the SEC? It's you assume Clark Lee has a long leash at Vanderbilt, and they actually could, at least get back to like 3, 4, 5 wins this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's probably. I guess Sam Pittman's my answer, honestly.
Really?
I just, they're going to be kind of borderline top 30 in my final SP Plus projections, and that's certainly good, but that only gets you about 6, 7 wins in the SEC West. And the fact that they have 2 new coordinators coming in, the fact that defense kind of fell apart last year, I think that program is a little less certain than it seemed over these last couple of years, and they need to bounce back. Obviously, they got Jefferson and Sanders. They've got an incredible backfield. They're going to they're going to have a few games where everything clicks and looks amazing. But if a 6 or 7 win projection, there are a couple extra close losses and they go 5 and 7, that's gonna. I think we know from Arkansas, like they don't mind a little drama, and that could spark up in a hurry, I think.
Do you think Jimbo is got the problems fixed there at Texas A&M?
Well, I think they are enough that they'll go, 8-4,
Yeah.
and scare a top team because their defense is going to be really good. I don't have much doubt about that. And the offense is kind of in a can't get worse situation. Petrino will get them a little better at least, and they lost a ton of close games. So yeah, they're probably fine in that regard. You're still paying a ridiculous amount of money to go 8-4, but I would assume at the very least that would earn him a 2024 season, if nothing else.
Bill, on the way out, when it comes to Alabama and their quarterback situation, is there a gut feeling you have on who gives them the best chance to contend for a championship? I think it's so interesting that the conversation around Bama is turning back the clock to like 2012. And just running the football 50 times per game, playing outstanding defense. And I still can't believe the article that said that Nick Saban was looking for his Stetson Bennett. Like, well, why are we looking for a guy 25 years old who can't graduate college?
Yeah, it is funny. I've laughed at myself all off season because I've really tried to talk myself into the Alabama questions a little bit. Like, they haven't had this many questions marks at quarterback since 2015 when they won the national title. It's still Alabama problems, but it is. I do have more questions about Alabama than I've had in a very long time, and it starts there. We know Milroe can run, didn't really prove he can pass, had a complete opportunity to seize the job in the off season, and after spring ball, they brought in Tyler Buchner, who certainly showed upside, especially against South Carolina in that bowl game last year. But he also, threw a couple disastrous passes as well, and he was all over the place. And the fact that they brought him in after spring, I thought was extremely telling, and maybe it gives him a leg up in getting the job. And man, Tyler Buchner, like a Notre Dame second stringer starting for Alabama, is not what we're used to, and that's different. The defense, they did have questions in the past, but the defense was also one of the 2 best in the country. Now it's like one of the 10 best, and they will absolutely need improvement on that side of the ball. And this is Alabama, so they'll probably get it, but it's still something they have to. There are extra hurdles they have to clear this year.
If you didn't hear that stream, that was me crying Alabama a river, okay?
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's going to feel real sorry for Nick Saban.
If you ever wondered what those drops were, that was me crying.
Not the Cumberland. That's the Foster River here in our studios. Bill Connelly, ESPN.com, our guest this morning. Bill, great stuff as always, man. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
All right, there he is. Bill Connelly with us this morning here as we wrap up hour number 2. Coming up, let's dive into this headline about maybe Michael Oher being a bit blindsided about some things involving his relationship with the Tui family. Some crazy stuff if you missed this headline that we'll get to coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for My PhD Weight Loss. It's not Monday, but it's Tuesday, the beginning of the week for you to get yourself on track for what you have already written down, looked at yourself in the mirror, thought about time and time again, and that's dropping a couple LBs. I don't care if it's 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 50 or even more. Everybody needs a plan. I know what a lot of us do, including myself. What I used to do is, I'm going to just eat a little less. I'm going to just work out a little bit more. You know what happens with that? You derail yourself. You don't really have a plan. And that's what My PhD Weight Loss does for you. They give you a plan. They give you an understanding of, how much you could be losing and how much you should be losing and what you need to do to continue that and just really the physics behind it. It's been a real good journey for myself. I told you guys earlier. I actually started a little weightlifting now because I'm at a point where I'm just really getting back into it. And I'll say this, I felt better about it. Although I'm sore yesterday, the movements of doing squats and honestly moving around the gym was a plus for me. And that's all because I felt better about where I was with my weight. That's something that I know a lot of people deal and struggle with, but I'm here to tell you, if you want a plan that's going to work for you, visit My PhD Weight Loss. It's by far one of the best things you can do, and it actually works. Again, have a plan. You will have a coach, and you'll have goals at the end of the day. Visit myphdweightloss.com and be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
Tuesday morning continues at RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Coming up in the second half of the show, we hear from Titans corner Sean Murphy-Bunting, talking about joint practices coming up this week with the Minnesota Vikings. You're Not That Guy as well at 8:20. Tell you what, you can be this Tuesday afternoon, tonight. You can be that guy if you head to Geodis Park, and we've got some tickets coming up. To give away. Not yet. 8:20 when you can join us to win some tickets. We've got 2 of them between Nashville SC and Monterrey tonight. Semifinal of the Leagues Cup.
Nice.
And a Saturday night game that could be here against Lionel Messi.
Love their cheese.
Monterey.
I love
Jack.
Monterey Jack.
Monterey Jack.
Hit the road, Jack.
So good.
Fire.
Ramon Foster, back in the day in Knoxville, Tennessee, you were the host on Michael Oher's recruiting visit.
Yeah.
Michael Oher, the subject of The Blind Side, a Briarcrest Saint. And if you think that rings a bell, it's because it probably does. That's where Kennedy Chandler came from, Tennessee point guard. Jabari Small, Tennessee running back. Omari Thomas, Tennessee defensive tackle. Michael Oher, who could have been a part of the Memphis to Tennessee pipeline, but was not. The 2009 movie, The Blind Side, of course, a big hit. Sandra Bullock won an Oscar for it. But a 14-page petition was filed in Shelby County, that's Memphis, as you know, yesterday, alleging that Sean and Leanne Toohey, who took Michael Oher into their home as a high school student, never adopted him. Instead, less than 3 months after Michael Oher turned 18 years old in 2004, the petition says the couple tricked him into signing a document making them his conservators or conservators. Conservators? Conservators, which gave them legal authority to make business deals in his name. So this petition, guys, alleges that the Tuohys used their power as conservators to strike a deal that paid them and their 2 birth children millions of dollars in royalties from an Oscar-winning film that earned more than $300 million, while Michael Oher got nothing for a story that genuinely was all about him. In the years since, the Tuohys have continued calling the 37-year-old Oher their adopted son and have used that assertion to promote their foundation as well as Leanne Toohey's work as an author and motivational speaker. Ramon is someone who knows Michael Oher and knew him while he was still a high school football player. What was your reaction to seeing this story?
Not surprised, essentially. Like, I thought it came from, I did think he was adopted by them. I knew they had certain persuasion on him as far as recruiting and stuff like that. I'll say this. I knew Mike wasn't a dumb guy. I did know that in college. I knew he was a hell of an athlete also. I played against him in basketball. Ripley High School, played against Briarcrest. It may have been like in the summer tournament. Mike was a dog. Mike could play. He could move real good feet, could jump and everything, man. It's fascinating seeing how he was played. The thing about Mike was he's quiet. He's still quiet to this day.
Probably.
I don't even think this. He's a strong-minded guy. He's just a quiet dude. I would almost kind of say the way he was growing up and even to this day, more of an introvert type as opposed to being out like that. So they probably just ran with that in a sense. And truthfully, when you're adopted at the age that he was, air quotation marks, adopted or taken under, he probably was just playing his roles the entire time. I remember having Mike on his official visit. Again, Letterman jacket on from high school, real chill dude, got a lowbrow look to him. So you assume that he's not, thinking or saying much, but he's a real smart dude. We got to, we finished dinner and he goes out with me because we're familiar with each other from high school and stuff. And he wanted to just go to the movies. Cool. We walk in the movie and I made sure my timeline was correct. We go to see Saw, the movie. I think it was the first one that came out. Saw, the first movie. And we walked in for a second after driving out there, and he was just like, yeah, I'm probably going to chill at the hotel. I was like, cool. I ended up shooting him the official visit bread and took him back to the hotel. I went out and partied. Like, that's his official visit to Tennessee. And he also had the conversations. There's no way he could have came to Tennessee in those moments right there. My job was to not force Mike into making a decision that he didn't want to make, in which he had no control over at that time. And that was him going to Ole Miss was as apparent as almost anything else. He couldn't say those things, but everybody kind of knew it was going to be a fight to get him away from Ole Miss. But that sucks because now in hindsight, you look at the money that's been dispersed, you look at where he was, and I even had people hitting me up or the conversation on social media, oh, Mike must be broke. Mike is far from broke. Mike is doing well for himself and did well in his NFL career too. He's right here in the mid-state. He stays around here. But too good of a dude to actually have that type of stuff go on to him.
So I think a lot of people were wondering, just on the flip side of this, why did it take so long for him to come to the table with this? Is it something he had to build a case for before coming out with it? Is it something he didn't find out till recently?
I think he's writing another book.
February 2023 is when he found out about this.
Which he's probably doing a lot of research on all the things that he was involved in, from the movie, from his upbringing, from the paperwork that he signed as a young 18-year-old and stuff like that. I'm sure all of this was exposed in his journey in writing this newer book, his version of his blind side pathway. So there is a lot that probably got uncovered. Can you imagine thinking everything was done above board, and then you'd end up having an audit and realize, no, you were actually owed a little bit more? That's what it was. It's not. Mike's not on hard times. He's never been one of those dudes that's depressed or has some mental issues and stuff like that going on either. Sharp dude. He just finally got the realization, oh, I got played.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it says February 2023, Michael Orr discovered this lie to his chagrin and embarrassment. According to the legal filing, the Toohey family did have a statement of the Daily Memphian in Memphis saying that Sean Toohey was stunned by Orr's allegations and said the Tooheys, quote, didn't make any money off the movie. Only a share of proceeds from Michael Lewis's book, which was the foundation of the film. According to the legal filing, the movie paid the Tooheys and their two birth children each $225,000 plus 2.5% of the film's, quote, defined net proceeds. A movie that made $300 million.
Wow. We haven't seen a former Tennessee blindside taken advantage of like this since Dennis Daly.
Oh, gosh.
And with that, we head to the second half of the show. 615-737.
He still gets his name in the show.
1045, the number. You won't be blindsided by what Sean Murphy Bunting had to say. Coming up next on Joint Practices, Hour 3, with more Robert Walsh one-liners coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster here to tell you about Zen Sports, the new sports betting app in Tennessee, revolutionizing sports betting rewards. What if I told you that you're wasting your time and money betting on any sports book that's not Zen Sports? Zen Sports offer real cash rewards for those lucky enough to be in Tennessee, and that means no funny money, points, or credits. You get straight cash, just like a welcome bonus. They have a welcome bonus where you can earn 5% cash back on every bet you place for your first 15 days with no limit on your bonus when you use the referral bonus code, and earn up to 3% cash back on your bets after that with Zen Sports loyalty programs. So make the switch today and start betting on Zen Sports. Your wallet will thank you later. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet.
What's going on? Just a hair before 8 o'clock from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. The Titans have added a familiar face to the roster in defensive lineman Kyle Pico. Pico was added to replace defensive lineman Shaquille Brown, who was injured against the Chicago Bears and placed on injured reserve, effectively ending his season. Pico spent time with the Titans in 2021, played in 8 games with the team, put up 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, and a forced fumble. But to bring in a familiar face, they got to get rid of one, prompting the wave of defensive back Chris Jackson. The former 2020 7th-round pick played in 24 games and had 6 starts for the Titans. And now Christian Fulton is the only remaining member of the 2020 draft class for the Titans. Titans also activated safety Josh Thompson from the physically unable to perform list. Thompson played in 6 games for the Titans last year, playing exclusively on special teams, where he registered 83 snaps. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome to the second half of the show on a Tuesday morning edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're powered by all 4 Seasons Garage Doors. Coming up in 20 minutes, your chance to air grievances of any kind, of the online sort, of the traffic sort, anything in between. 615-737-1045, the way you participate in You're Not That Guy. I'm very excited for this one. A team that we talk about a lot. That is going to be the subject of my You're Not That Guy. Looking forward to it with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. Robert Walsh, our producer. Coming up in 20 minutes, if you want to head tonight to Geodis Park, I would encourage you to do so post haste to grab tickets to head to see Nashville SC take on Monterey of Liga MX, the semifinals of Leagues Cup 2023. We've got 2 tickets to give away, so stay right there. We'll do that in 20 minutes.
Sounds fun.
Do their fans throw things on the field?
I'll plead the 5th.
Oh.
As in probably.
See you tonight.
Yeah, exactly. See it for yourself.
It'll be a great atmosphere. It'll be good. Chance to see Lionel Messi this weekend as well, if they win or if both teams lose.
D-Hop will be there.
Oh, yeah.
And once again, I will be there. So
yeah. Will I be there?
My gritted teeth. A lot of worry about DeAndre Hopkins. I'm just giving you a hard time.
You too will. You will be there too.
Thank you. I'll be calling now.
Listen, Kayla,
See, there
pat
you
him
go.
on
The
his
best
back.
of both worlds.
Pat him on his back. You will be there too.
He'll get the call. DeAndre Hopkins will get to watch his favorite player in which he wears the number after.
Is he not going to be in Minneapolis?
That's awesome.
Never mind.
Saturday?
I take that back. You're exactly right.
I will be there.
Yeah.
I can finally be the headliner of this
There
conversation.
you go. Will's got the spotlight.
Forget about DeAndre Hopkins. Dang it.
Oh, no.
No, I wore 10 because of Ronaldinho, but anyway.
Do you?
I mean, I did.
Huh.
Well, that
So
was the
10 was your
first
number.
jersey I wanted when I was a kid. Well, 10 wasn't. My number was 5.
Oh, Kearis Jackson.
Chris Lofton.
I love, yeah,
I wanted to be number 5 to be like Chris
Okay.
Lofton. And
That's
Chris
good.
Lofton was my favorite athlete growing up
okay. Good.
Oh, yeah.
of any sport.
I never had anybody I had a favorite number after at all.
Really?
Yeah, I played O-line.
You did?
Yeah.
And then when I was trying to be a tight end, I just wanted the 80 number. Like, I was 85.
Oh, those 80 numbers.
Yeah, I had.
You don't
I
like
was-
I can't keep track of. I
Pause.
can't keep them. Okay,
Why do
this
you
is
like
the
80
thing.
numbers?
I don't. It's not that I dislike them, and I'm not the only one saying this. When I'm watching practice, I cannot keep track. I mix up the guys all the time.
I know what you mean.
All the time.
I know what you mean, because trying to track guys on the
Yes.
field with their numbers, that
Yes.
8 does blend into other numbers more than any other number. Like I can see like a 82. It could be 88 because the
88.
curvature of the 2 at the beginning, at the top of
Especially
the
the
number.
Titans
oh my
numbers,
gosh, yes,
how they
yes.
are.
I know you. I know where you're coming from on that one.
I think Kayla's just saying all fat guys look alike.
Well, my numbers were stretched. My numbers were stretched a little bit when I wore 85.
That's
No,
why
I
she
wasn't. I was
confuses
actually-
you and I,
I
Ramon.
was standard then. I was like 280
Hey,
as a freshman. I was
No
standard
shaming
then.
on the fat side here. No shaming.
Absolutely not.
Speaking of, did y'all see what the Lions did yesterday?
No.
No.
Uh-oh.
Did you see what Teddy Bridgewater's new number is?
Oh, no.
0?
Any guesses? You're not going to guess.
I
Oh,
got
my
0.
gosh. 85?
50.
I was close.
Teddy Bridgewater is going to wear number 50 for the Detroit
Give
Lions.
me a break.
Shea Patterson walked so Teddy Bridgewater could run.
Did he give an explanation for that?
Nope. It's just at NFL_jersey_numbers says that literally he's wearing number 50.
That's got to be the highest quarterback number of all time, right?
So wasn't there was a quarterback for one game at Michigan who didn't he wear number 98?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't Denard Robinson, was it?
I think it
Was
was
it?
Denard.
Thought it might have been
Yes.
Denard.
I know that there was a team that wore a guy that wore number 98 though at quarterback.
Teddy is listed as number 50.
Yeah, bridging the gap between linebackers and quarterbacks there.
Y'all know how long Teddy Bridgewater's been in the NFL?
Devin Gardner,
Devin Gardner.
Gardner.
the
Okay.
guy that wore
DG.
number 98.
Okay.
Come on, I was close.
He's on, I think, Big Ten Network now, too.
Is he really?
He's doing real good for himself, man. Absolutely. Former teammate also.
Teddy's been in the league for 8 years now?
Longer?
10.
10? Yeah.
Whoa.
It's about right.
That's so
I
weird.
did not realize he's a 10-year
I
veteran.
remember him at Louisville like it was yesterday.
I
did,
know.
He was such a great story at Louisville,
Because
too.
wasn't he on the video game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He was on the last NCAA video game, was
Takes
he
us
not?
back 14, yeah.
There you go.
Long time
Takes us
ago.
back, sure does.
NCAA 4. So, yeah, his senior season would have been 2013 fall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he would have been the last group, I believe. When Denard Robinson was on the cover, shout out to him.
Denard
Where's
Robinson.
Denard at?
He's such a cool dude, man. Y'all
Denard
like him.
Robinson?
Where's he at?
He's at home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
is he
at
just
home.
chilling?
He does TV. He does a lot of TV,
he does
too.
TV.
He does games.
Okay.
I think he did a good bit of the USFL, and he does Big Ten
wow.
Network stuff. He's in the industry.
That
big
was
time.
the Rich Rod days.
Yeah, I know. I know. People really didn't like that era right there.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
But no, he's doing good for himself.
Cool.
DG is, man. Real good dude, too.
615-737-1045 is our number. Want to hear from Sean Murphy Bunting as he talks about joint practices. And Kayla, I know you got the chance to catch up with him yesterday as another guy in the Titans secondary who gets back on the field and gets back in the swing of things after the matchup on Saturday. Did not play against the Bears, but I think Murphy Bunting specifically, Kayla, talks about here the ability to go up against some outstanding wide receivers, including the guy who's number 2 in the NFL top 100 players list for this season, and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I would think this is a good challenge for the secondary group.
Here's Sean Murphy Bunting on the challenges of joint practices. Some interesting stuff here.
You get an opportunity to get different looks from different guys. Minnesota has a handful of receivers that are very talented and can do different things. So you get a taste of what that is, and you get to go against guys like Justin Jefferson, KJ Osborne, and Tuesday Jackson, just being able to cover them in different spots on the field. And, different guys are going against different teams, so it's more intense, obviously more competitive, but at the same time, you want to win matchups.
We talked with some vets before about just joint practices, how physical it is.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys look forward to this, or is it like,
think
oh,
so.
damn, this is going to be taxing?
Yeah, no. I think it's more of a looking forward to a thing. You get to, like you said, put some pads on to hit a different guy, hit on a different team with a different jersey on. So I think that it gets real physical, it gets chippy, it gets competitive. But at the end of the day, it should be fun. It's still football at the end of the day, and I think you just got to go play, be ready to have fun.
Watching some of these younger guys in this first preseason game, what did you take from that in terms of just the depth of the back end and seeing some of the things you saw?
Yeah, a lot of young guys that were ready to go out and ready to play. A lot of guys stepped up. Trey Avery stepped up. Amani Marsh stepped up. There's a lot of guys who did a lot of good things. And you've seen that. I see it every day in practice, how hard they work, the afternoon meetings that they do, the extra meetings that they do. And so I'm glad they were able to go out there and put it on the field. Just continue to do that.
So there's Titans corner Sean Murphy Bunting speaking after practice yesterday with some good stuff on some of the young guys. But Ramon, I'm always interested. How much do you guys scout a team you're about to practice against? Like, do you look at film at all going into practice of like, hey, in one-on-one drills or in team periods, you got to look out for this guy or that, or are you more focused on yourself?
You're focused on yourself, and you just glance at the film, honestly, just for a little bit, because practice reps are way different than games. And I say it in the sense that, like, one-on-ones are just what they are, and you much rather just not watch a whole lot of film on that one because you don't know what their practice reps are going to be. They could be trying something out. The only other thing that you'll really have to focus in on is when they run games, as far as up front, like passing off games, which that second offensive line has to get a whole lot better. Specifically, Zach Johnson and Jordan Roos, both. They struggled with that one this past weekend. Y'all saw that one that happened as far as them getting on the same page. But it's not a whole lot you can do. Like going against Justin Jefferson, Kayla,
Yeah.
what can they actually
Learn
do?
on the spot?
You better learn on the spot. You better be reactionary is what happens when you're going against a guy like him. But not only just that, but like you can't just say, well, I know when Kirk Cousins does this, the ball's coming out of his hand. No, that's not going to be the case. Like the best bet about practice is go in as blind as you possibly can with a little knowledge because you want to win, because you can overthink it. Practice can derail itself by you just saying, no, we're going to focus on just doing one thing today.
I think there was another question yesterday posed to Mike Vrabel or Mamani Hooker about finding the balance of bringing the chippiness and bringing that kind of violence with the opposing team and keeping it. Is that hard? Because I would find myself being kicked out of practice.
You know what, Kayla? That probably is more on the line than actually staying in practice. Because here's the thing, the first day of pads, especially for the bigs, and I say DBs versus wide receivers, is this. Like, you don't want to lose or get just, like, beat out bad.
Exactly.
You know? So there is a sense of pride that goes into it. If Vrabel does still have his no-nonsense kick you out of practice for fighting, you know, memo sent out to everybody, then maybe you're a little bit fine. But the team in general wants to win those days. You saw Cincinnati versus Green Bay, what that looked like. You had DJ Reader calling offensive lineman, he's just a guy. You know, like, so that does happen. And what sucks is this. After those fights in heavily contested days, one team has to choose to bend the knee. That's what sucks about it. And then the practices become, they're nothing at that point, though. Because if we go in and say we're going to fight the entire time, then we'll never get anything done in practice. So just don't be the team that bends the knee. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay, we're not pushing anymore after practice. Like, I mean, after the reps, that sucks, though, because you want that edge, you know? And the refs can throw flags all they want to in practice, but still, like, I want to get active.
Absolutely.
I want to get active, Kayla. So I just hope the Titans aren't the team that chooses to, we're going to chill today. Because you lose a whole day.
Right. I think it's an important clarification, too, on the film aspect, because to me, correct me if I'm wrong, Ramon, this is the only time ever you're going to go up against a different team yet not do homework beforehand. So I would imagine you're sharpening a lot of instincts when you play joint practices like this, where you're so focused on yourself that you're going to make mistakes simply based on the fact that you don't know what the other team is trying to do. But it's the individual periods and the one-on-ones and the 7-on-7s when it's your instincts in the moment against somebody else's instincts. That's what you would appear to be honing in the most versus schematic things that are specific to beating another team. You're not as focused on winning the team periods maybe as you are the individual drills. Is that fair?
That's very fair. And this is the thing. You take all of what you saw and did in practice to the game because that's where you're not trying to get embarrassed at.
Right.
That's the separator.
Coming up, You're Not That Guy, every Tuesday at 8:20 on RKW. Load up the phone lines at 615-737-1045. If there is anyone you feel like in your life has wronged you, whether it's online or in person, let us know at 615-737-1045. Plus, in 10 minutes, tickets to see Nashville SC tonight, a semifinal under the lights at the Castle of Geodis Park. We've got 2 tickets to give away for Nashville SC in Monterey when we come back on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's Ramon and Kayla with Window Nation, and the temperatures, they're cranking up today after we got a little bit of relief over the weekend, and that means your AC is going to be cranked up as well, leading to high energy bills. So what is the solution? We've got the solution for you. New windows from our friends at Window Nation. You can save thousands today with, get this, no money down, no payments, and no interest for 2 full years. Plus, right now, you can get 50% off all styles of windows, bows, bays, double hung, any style. Protect and increase the value of your home today. And simply check them out online at windownation.com.
No doubt about it, Kelly. And this is the best thing about Window Nation. All they do are windows. They are experts at it. They've installed over 200,000 windows last year, 40 times more than the average installer company, too, with 96% of them requiring no follow-up service. They measure each windows 3 times to ensure proper fit. Over 10,000 online positive reviews. Look, we can go on and on about this. We can tell you about the weather. We can talk about how good they are. But guess what? Simply reach out to Window Nation at 866-90Nation or go online to windownation.com and be sure to tell them that Ramon and Kayla sent you.
Tuesday morning continues on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is our number if you want to jump in on You're Not That Guy. We've got some tickets to give away as well, don't we? Nashville SC and Monterey tonight, semifinal of Leagues Cup. So essentially, guys, what's happening tonight? Nashville SC, with a win, of course, would go to the final of Leagues Cup and have a decent chance to host the final, by the way.
That's going to be big.
On
That'd
Saturday
be huge.
at Geodis Park, if Miami beats Philadelphia. If Philadelphia beats Miami, they would go to Philly for the Leagues Cup final. Philly, the defending Eastern Conference champions of Major League Soccer. If Nashville SC loses, they would either host or travel, same math on that one, for the third place game. Now, why this matters, or why you should care about this and call us for tickets in seconds, is because the top three finishers of Leagues Cup go to the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Now, even if you don't know soccer, you know that the Champions League is something that happens in Europe between the top four teams in all the big leagues, top three in some. Just every good team plays in the Champions League. Well, North America has a Champions League too, and that's the Champions Cup, which is the biggest competition in North America. Nashville SC will go to that competition if they just win tonight.
Yes.
Because the top three teams make it.
We're all rooting for that then.
And so you can be caller number 5 right now to win tickets, 2 of them, I would say, to go to see Nashville Soccer Club take on Monterrey, one of the biggest teams in Mexico, Los Rayados. Coming to Nashville tonight, 615-737-1045. The boys in gold against Monterrey. You can head there to see it all if you call us now at 615-737-1045. And I believe Robert Walsh already has a winner.
Whoa.
Wow, that was
quick.
Very fast. That's right.
Popular ticket.
Robert,
Very
who do we
popular.
have heading to Geodis Park tonight? He's going to take the
One
call
second.
right now.
Yeah, he's still
He's gonna
making it
take the
happen,
call
baby.
right now and find out.
Yeah.
So we will get to You're Not That Guy coming up in just a moment. But feel like it's important to tell the people the ramifications tonight. Who we got, Robert?
Graham.
Graham.
Right.
Congratulations,
There
Graham.
you go.
Graham, I will see you at Geodis Park tonight
Good stuff.
after a long nap today.
Right?
So with that, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, at 8:20 for You're Not That Guy.
I never said that.
That is right. It is You're Not That Guy. Tuesdays at 8:20 at RKW. You could join us at 615-737-1045. The spirit is moving for whom today? Who leads us off? And You're Not That Guy.
Ramon?
I'll lead us off today.
Ramon Foster
Bird
bats
seems
There
first.
you go.
Yeah, I kind of buried the lead a
There you
little
go.
bit yesterday in my recap of the weekend, but I think it's fitting to go ahead and just call it out anyway. Coming back from Chicago, we were sitting on Chicago, the winning
Yes,
city.
chef.
We were sitting on the tarmac for approximately hour and a half, maybe hour 45, because somebody at the airport forgot to fill up the airplane. There was an independent contractor, I think,
This is so crazy.
that just said, "No, we got stuff going on." So because of that, I'm giving whoever's in charge of fueling up the jet, as the ballers like to say sometimes, as to you're not that guy. You can't leave us stranded on the tarmac. Like I was supposed to be back at about 7:15, 7:30. Didn't make it home till 9 o'clock, y'all. So, duly noted, you're not that guy. If we were supposed to connect that hose to the wing.
Not that guy.
Not
at all.
that guy. That was
So,
tough right there.
I was waiting for the drop, but I'll piggyback after you. Because mine is also an airplane story. We all were on airplanes this weekend, supposedly,
true, we
except
were.
for Bert. There's not many times when you travel back to the West Coast where you don't have to get off the plane and get on another one. So I had a straight, direct flight, which is amazing, right? So
Yep.
I'm all stoked for that. I don't have to get on and off a plane. And, I'm in the middle of the plane and I'm thinking, okay, comfy, cozy. I got a window seat. For 4 hours straight, I keep on smelling somebody in front of me who just can't get up for 1 second because they're embarrassed to get up to go to the bathroom and take a number 2. Instead, they flood me with sense of, I'm not going to describe, but you can imagine what it smelled like when you're on an airplane and you're eating crackers and whatever you're eating for 4 hours every 20 minutes. So for those of you who are on a direct flight that still don't want to get up and go to the bathroom for 4 hours and flood us with the nasty sense of farts, you are not that guy.
Yeah.
It's fair.
You got in the middle of the sky a tin can and you choose to just blast us like
and
that.
he didn't get up at the end when we all get off the plane. He sat there. So that made me think he was a little embarrassed.
He should be, Caleb.
I had a moment yesterday where there's always the classic, like the person next to me is asleep.
Yes.
And I was in the middle seat. And it was like, is it worth waking this person up or can I wait like 20 minutes? And I ended up waiting and was fine and did not have that issue. But it was like, whatever.
I get it, though,
Tough
Will.
process.
I've been with you on that.
Definitely.
And he was on the end.
That even makes it even worse.
That's even worse.
It's not like you roll the window
worse.
down.
No.
God,
Might
that's
not
terrible,
go well.
man.
I'm going to go with a team that we are often discussing about not being that guy. Oh, yes. I'm talking about the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, no.
Who last week, after a preseason win over the Denver Broncos, chose to do something that I typically don't have an issue with, and that was make a snarky tweet. Look, there's a place and time for teams having snarky tweets, rubbing it into other teams when they win, but why are we focused on preseason wins and making fun of Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos for a preseason win? That means absolutely nothing. The Arizona Cardinals tweeting out a video that was the meme that has gone viral of the lady on the plane that you've probably seen at this point saying, that guy is not real. He is not real, I promise you. And then it cuts to a video of Russell Wilson stretching, and photoshopped behind him, there's a plane aisle. Now, I will give this joke an 8 out of 10, right? The execution, perfectly fine. But the timing of this tweet screams to me, well, let's go ahead and make fun of teams after a win because we're not going to actually get any wins when the season actually starts and really matters. Arizona Cardinals social media team, I recognize the fact that you've got to make a resume. You've got to add to your reels. Look, we're all building for our dream jobs in the future. But just because your team's not going to win any games that matter doesn't mean you only have this opportunity to rub it in on other franchises. I say to you, Arizona Cardinals, you're not that guy. Plus, don't you have to have a height restriction in order to ride some of these things? Oh, never mind. That's on me.
Kyler Murray, that one's for you.
That's on me. Robert Walsh, Pat's cleanup this morning.
I got to go with, I love when people put their foot in their mouth, especially when they don't mean to. Earlier in the offseason, Jets running back Michael Carter, when asked about Dalvin Cook joining the team, says, I like the guys we got here. We don't need him. Well, he's having to walk those statements back. And the room was already kind of deep, right? They invested high picks in Breece Hall. This last draft, they drafted Israel Abanikanda out of Pittsburgh. They also have undrafted free agent Bam Knight, who's been killing it. So Michael Carter finds himself in a crowded room. Now the superstars who are on top of him might have a little resentment. Michael Carter, you...
Wow.
So like Traylon Burke saying he liked the room we had here in Tennessee.
And he did, but he did it a little more tactfully, right? Like he was kind of like, but I do look up to DeAndre. He's a great player.
Yeah, definitely different. Right.
Way different.
A
Small world.
solid group.
It was airplanes and footballs.
Airplanes and footballs.
Airplanes,
Egos.
running backs, and Cardinals. 615-737-1045, our number. We begin with Garrett in Nashville, who leads us off on You're Not That Guy. What's up, Garrett?
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we got you.
All right, good deal. Hey, first-time caller, long-time listener. What I wanted to, who's not my guy, is, so Saturday, getting ready to watch the game. I've got DirecTV and went over to the NFL Network. It was on there. Clicked on it. This is shown on another channel. All right. It took me to ABC. DirecTV and Nexstar, who the visual media group for ABC, are in disputes. Could not watch the game. So, DirecTV, Nexstar, you're not that guy.
No.
Thank you, Garrett.
Yep, and that happened when I worked at News 2.
No.
Yeah,
a couple times, and it takes a while for them to do the dispute. It's all this crap with money. It's stupid.
Do we get money? Does he get money
stupid.
back?
No. Yeah, it's
No,
not cool.
man.
I'm with you, Garrett, and I was a part of that.
We got to have something
Yeah.
we can actually go at these companies about. Y'all wasting our money on that one. Like, Garrett, man, I'm sorry for you on that one because
Couldn't
that
watch the game.
sucks.
It's why I think we're going to get to a point where every network just creates their own media rights deals.
Oh,
So bad.
Or you can just buy ESPN directly without having a cable company to act as the middleman.
and they don't give you no bread back, no nothing. I can't even get a gift card to the Sizzler.
You have to sit and wait. And Moan, it could take 3 months. It could take 2 months. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, greedy.
There's still people that can't watch, what is it, Sinclair and also Bally on YouTube TV, on Hulu Live Sports. Hulu has live sports unless you want to watch, baseball and other things.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough.
Yeah. 615-737-1045, the number for You're Not That Guy. Tim is in Nashville up next, joining us on the phone lines. What's up, Tim?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yep.
So, my You're Not That Guy came from Robert Walsh yesterday talking about Ramon wearing a pocket square for the Pittsburgh Steelers when he goes to the Titans game. But also, Ramon, you're not that guy that if you do that, and that might be do it just to piss people off.
Look how he worked in that. Seamless.
Tim in Nashville.
Hey, if you're going to come at me,
Seamless.
buddy, make sure your radio's cut down to the background.
I literally was gonna say that if you're not
Great.
careful, Robert Walsh will make you You're Not That Guy for having your radio
Way
on.
to
after
go,
you call him.
Tim.
Are you going to do it?
Rob, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm already been pulled in places already, and the game ain't even close.
I
It's
know.
tough to rock that Steelers pocket square when you're a newly found Ravens fan.
You know, they
huh?
say purple
That's
used to be
right.
purple used to be a color of royalty. That was until the Baltimore Ravens grabbed it.
Oof.
Sick
Got
burn. Yeah, you got me.
I would have said the Huskies, but that was my bias.
Same thing.
Right?
It's just chirping dogs and birds. That's all.
I will say about that, purple and gold and blue and gold, my favorite color combinations. Other than orange and white, of course. But,
It does look good. It does look good.
No, it doesn't.
It's always
Just
what I would
pretend it's
do.
for
You
the
like black
Pirates.
and yellow,
Just
black
pretend
and
it's
yellow.
for somebody else.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah, not great. Brian in Nashville. Up next, You're Not That Guy continues at 615-737-1045. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
I just wanted to say I got a little twist to my You're Not That Guy. So, everybody knows, the Saints thing that happened this weekend. I want to reach out to the security guard and say, hey, man, y'all can't call the kicker for the Saints, You're Not That Guy. When he made the kick, he was that guy. And then when he got ready to leave, he said, you're not that guy again. They said you were not even on the part of the team. So I thought that was the funny one for the day.
By far one of the biggest mess up jobs
So
ever.
to those people who didn't see it.
Yeah, what happened?
They had the kicker in their game, undrafted guys signed to him. Would initially going on the field, security wouldn't let him in because they thought he was a fan. Goes in the locker room, plays a game, have the game winning kick. Also leaving the field, they wouldn't let him leave the stadium because they also thought he was a fan too. They messed him up. And to be fair to the security though, he does look like a regular Joe. He's a smaller dude.
still.
He's a smaller dude.
Kickers are people
Caleb
too. Ramon.
Shudak.
I wouldn't let him on the plane either.
If he's short from 53 yards, he might not be allowed on the Titans plane either way.
Yeah, I know, for real. That, to be fair to him, the kickers do have that plain look about them most times. Was it Trey Wolf, Tyler Wolf?
Trey Wolf.
Trey
Trey
Wolf.
Wolf.
He's a taller.
He's
He
tall.
looks like a football player. I will say that.
Oh, come on. What are we doing?
He ain't wrong, but there's that security.
You could be
is
a
not
short
the guy.
king and be a football player. How dare you hurt our vertically challenged people out there who just want to make a career and make a living like you did?
It's so
Come on, man.
serious right now.
What are you doing?
Deuce Vaughn out here killing it in preseason, and Ramon's
Ramon.
trying to downplay the small
Come
guys.
on. Is Tajay Spears not
great.
matter to you? What the
No,
heck's
he's not
going
that
on?
We can't all be 6'2" like you are. You know?
Kyle Phillips and Caleb Shudak are people too.
Look. If I can get random questions asking me, hey, are you a football player? Then I can dog out small, shorter guys
Come on,
by not
man.
realizing they're football players too then, okay? It worked both ways in these streets, Kayla. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know.
Unbelievable.
I feel bad sometimes because I'm a taller girl. I'm not super tall, but sometimes I take for granted that I'm a little taller than others, and Sometimes I get a little too bad on the small jokes.
See what I'm saying?
Short people got no reason to live. Ramon Foster's favorite song.
Hey, if you actually listen to that song, it is he says a lot of disparaging things about small people.
We did this a couple months ago where we played this song, yeah.
Yeah, Shay played it for us over on here. It was
I
crazy.
went on a school trip once in high school, and the driver that was driving us around, it was one of our teachers who was driving our rental car or whatever, made like a mix CD for us to listen to. And one of the girls in our car was really short, and he made literally on the song, it was short people got no reason to live. It was
Randy
like, oh, this one's for
Newman.
you.
That is awful.
That was great. Yeah, after you hear that song, you are not saying you've got a friend in me. Randy Newman.
Just listen to Skilo.
Eric in Nashville. Goodness, coming up next, 615-737-1045. What's up, Eric?
Hey, guys. How y'all doing today?
Good.
So, guys, my You're Not That Guy is the IRS and the federal government, and here's why. I recently received an income tax check from the government, but here's the thing. I should have gotten it in May of 2021. I waited more than 2 years on it, and I got almost $60 in interest. On top of that, I had a stimulus check I had to wait a year on. I've got another stimulus check I was supposed to get in February last year. I still haven't received. I've got another form. They sent me a form saying that I had not filed this year, which was not true. I had a friend that helped me go online to file. I had to file again. And, guys, I'm not even making an income because I've got health issues. And, guys, my doctors say that with my situation, I could definitely qualify for disability. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to work again. But, guys, it's just frustrating dealing with all this stuff. I know they had the government shutdowns, the pandemic, and shortage of workers. But it's just so aggravating with everything and all the hoops I've had to jump through to try and deal with all this stuff. So IRS, federal government, you are not that guy. Y'all take care. We'll talk again soon.
Yeah,
Go
Eric.
off, E. Yeah.
There's Eric in Nashville.
So just all this money he's owed and just sitting and waiting.
Hey, pay that man his bread. You feel me?
Tell him to bring me my money.
Hey! Tell him,
Man.
bring me my money.
Coming up next.
Right now.
That's exactly what Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook told their new NFL homes. A couple running backs that have helmets to play in this season. Coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Tuesday morning continues at RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is our number. We can take your calls if you've got a You're Not That Guy as the show continues. And the man who's always that guy joins us at 9:20 this morning. He is Ron Slay of 3HL, of SEC Network, of Roof Losing Ministries.
Yeah.
Coming up in the fourth and final hour of the show. Ezekiel Elliott is a guy who will be wearing New England Patriots colors this season. 1-year deal worth up to $6 million, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter yesterday, for the man who was released by the Dallas Cowboys on March 15th, coming off of an 876-yard season in 2022. 12 touchdowns, however, for Ezekiel Elliott. What is the expectation for him in New England this upcoming season?
Man, be a compliment to Mac Jones. Like, it's that simple.
That's sad.
Well, no, that's essentially what it is. I don't know what Zeke has still left in the tank. His last couple of years in Dallas wasn't anything to call home about. He's a running back to me, he has to be a guy to try to push the running back importance back up. I don't know what Mac Jones is going to be, which is why I say that. If Zeke can go in and get and stabilize that offense with the moves that they've made this offseason, then that actually may push the running back market up a little bit more. There's a lot riding on him and Dalvin Cook signings. It just is. That's where I come from with it. Like, so when I say help assist Mac Jones, like, this is what it takes for him to help the running back market too.
I will say with Ezekiel Elliott, I will be interested to see, with his career being what it has been, he's kind of got everything. I do not want to say handed to him, but the success he had late at Ohio State and then winning the national championship then propelled him to being a high draft pick that went to America's team where he got a lot of attention there. And really his work off the field, in terms of some of the things that have happened, have gotten in the way a little bit. Maybe he's been humbled by this experience over the past several months and just sitting back and knowing, okay, I've really got to, when I get back and I have another chance with another team, I've really got to be out there and give it 120%, right?
Yep.
I expect him to be a little bit better, I would hope, towards the end of his career in Dallas, but still probably more so be that guy that you're going to put in the red zone as a guy who can get into the red zone, right? That's what he was known for this past year. Doesn't have the bursts really anymore, but can still be a guy they can utilize down there with the amount of touchdowns he could still possibly help out with.
The finisher. Yeah, that's what you need from him. Absolutely.
When you look at this running back room for the Patriots, they kind of needed a guy like this. It's Ramondre Stevenson and then a cast of characters and draft picks that haven't panned out. The number 2 running back before he was signed was Ty Montgomery, who was a converted wide receiver. He's a third down guy. So having a veteran in that room, and you talked about 12 touchdowns last year, I think in a situation where he's splitting carries, maybe getting 40% of the load compared to what he was doing in Dallas, getting it like even with Tony Pollard, it could be a good move for him. It'll keep him fresh. It'll give them an experienced guy in the backfield. And the deal was up to, what was the number on that?
Up to six.
Up to six. So his cap number is probably like $2 million.
Right.
Like they got him for pennies on the dollar. I think at this stage of free agency, that's as good of a signing as you could hope for.
So 12 touchdowns on the back of Tony Pollard. Like, again, Zeke has to be the finisher when it comes down to his role in this offense moving forward. For 6 M's, that's expected.
Dalvin Cook, meanwhile, 1 year, $8.6 million to the New York Jets. Breece Hall, by the way, coming off the PUP list potentially today. What is Dalvin Cook at this point? I feel like the Jets have assembled quite a running back room between those two guys. Breece Hall was on fire last season before he got hurt. The young guy from Iowa State.
Probably the deepest room in the NFC East.
I would agree.
Yeah. They do. I'm actually still shocked.
AFC, correct. Maybe the AFC total. I don't know another backfield room that looks this deep and this good with guys that can do multiple things.
Right.
I couldn't understand the Dalvin Cook cut. I could not. The release of his, like, I still thought he had more in the tank. My expectation for him is the same as it was in Minnesota when he was healthy. Just go crush it. Like, if they can really devise a plan for Aaron Rodgers with those running backs, we ain't even talking about the wide receivers. They could cause damage in the East. Like, that window that everybody's giving the Bills may have gotten tighter, y'all.
Well, here's my thing. First of all, I like Dalvin Cook, and I agree with you. Very complimentary to Kirk Cousins up in Minnesota, and obviously money played into that. I remember Derrick Henry just, has said several times he thinks Dalvin is one of the best running backs hands down in the league when anybody would bring him up with the Derrick Henry conversation. But this is my question about the New York Jets. It's almost like there is so much talent there that if they do not overachieve or just achieve the way they're supposed to, like, what is the conversation going to be like? Because there is so much talent there now. And everybody's assuming that they're going to be the team to beat, at least in that division. But if there's something that happens or expectations aren't met, that is going to be an interesting conversation. Because right now it's all good and fine and dandy.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Till week one. When it gets real.
It's going to be interesting because that could go in a Denver Broncos direction really quickly if they're not careful. And Nathaniel Hackett's on this staff too.
And so is DA.
Hey, he may
Todd Downing.
He may actually have some good ideas.
Don't do that. 615-737-1045 is our number. Ramon Foster's expiration date on his vouchers no longer work. We cannot scan that barcode no longer.
Expired.
I'm trying.
I know it's a double negative. I don't care. Coming up, we reset the practice report from yesterday where Ryan Tannehill was awfully impressive, as was one rookie who maybe bounced back and had his best practice of his young NFL career after an up-and-down performance on Saturday in Chicago. We'll tell you who that is coming up next. To the fourth and final hour of the show on Ramon, Kayla, and Will.
What's going on? Just about 9 o'clock from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. The Titans have added a familiar face to the roster in defensive lineman Pico. Pico was added to replace defensive lineman Shaquille Brown, who was injured against the Chicago Bears and placed on injured reserve, effectively ending his season. Pico spent time with the Titans in 2021, played in 8 games with them, had 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, and a forced fumble. But to bring in a familiar face, they had to get rid of another, prompting the wave of DB Chris Jackson. The former 2020 7th-round pick played in 24 games and had 6 starts for the Titans, and leaving Christian Fulton as the only remaining member of the 2020 draft class. The Titans also activated safety Josh Thompson from the physically unable to perform list. Thompson played in 6 games for the Titans last year, playing exclusively on special teams, where he registered 83 snaps. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Into the 4th and final hour we go on a Tuesday morning edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will. A beautiful morning in Music City, USA. Wherever you're listening or watching, as you can join the F&M Bank chat on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. And if you missed any of our interviews, our conversation with Bill Connelly, our next conversation with Ron Slay, every morning, every hour, you can find each and every hour of the show wherever you download podcasts. We encourage you to go to Apple and or Spotify. Subscribe to us on both. Listen to one day and one the other day. We don't hate that at all.
Absolutely not. Spread the love out. That's all we're telling you to do.
Right?
And leave a 5-star rating while you're there. Unless you don't like the show, then maybe keep your opinion to yourself. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. My name is Will Boulding. We've got Ron Slay coming up to bring the energy up to 11.
Woo.
Coming up in 20 minutes.
11.
Bring it.
Yay.
That's right.
Looking forward to it, man. Our dog out here checking out orders and stuff. Will's out here just scouring the web for fall merch.
It is that time of the year. I'm trying to manifest cold weather. I don't believe in manifesting things, just like I don't believe in jinxes. I think those are largely stupid. But I have to do my part in making sure it feels like fall. And if I order a half zip with a Tennessee logo on it, I'm more encouraged to feel just a little bit more like it's football season.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Football's back.
It is. You know what that means for ladies out there?
What does that mean?
Boot season.
Boot season.
Yeah.
Brown, black,
all colors.
Ugg?
I have one question about boot season.
Oh, no.
One question and one question only.
Give it to me. Let's go.
When do they put up the white boots?
Oh, so first of all, I don't do white boots.
Okay, so because you
That's
were real.
a little much for me.
My girlfriend
Unless
has
it's
white
a
boots.
concert
Okay.
or an event,
Okay.
which Peyton I've seen pull off the white boots at certain things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But on an everyday, like covering football, because obviously I'm talking about the work kind of environment.
Absolutely.
I'm going more so with the brown and black boots. But the white boots, I would think you'd probably put them up at the end of September.
Okay.
Unless you're going to Miami, a concert down there or some event down there.
Okay, all right. I was just
Or
wondering.
a sunny place.
When do you put up the white boots is all I was wondering. Because those are like a staple now. When did they actually become popular?
That's a great question.
Recently? That's
In
recent,
Nashville,
though, right? Yeah,
sometime.
Nashville. Oh, there it is, man.
And that was Talking Fashion with Ramon Foster.
Hey.
There you go. Good
world,
questions.
World issues right there.
Really
we
good questions.
We should have like a Foster's Fashion Corner.
We should.
Right?
I was thinking yesterday about charities. We need to open up Ramon's Fosters.
Oh, would Michael Orr go in on that?
Foster's Kids.
We can
There you
team
go.
up on that one.
Look at
Foster's Kids. Hey,
like
nah,
that.
I got enough kids of my own. I
That
had
was
two-
an idea
two max.
of the name of this show at one point was Foster's Kids. Weekdays on Ramon Kayla on 104.5 The Zone.
I hate him. I hate him.
That
Get
one
him
wasn't my idea.
Cool. That means I'm like 20 again or 14 again.
That was the
Good
idea
for you.
of one former producer we had. What was his name
Jonathan
again?
Schaefer?
Jonathan.
Justin Schaefer.
Justin Schaefer.
Justin?
That was his name.
Jonathan?
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Jacob. No, is it Jake? No.
Justin.
We'll figure it out.
You said Justin?
Yeah, Justin Schaefer.
Justin.
That was our old producer's name.
We're probably going to get a text
Jacoby
here in a
Schaefer.
minute.
That's
Jacoby
what it was.
Schaefer. That was Jacoby Schaefer.
He got tripped by Mike Tomlin on the sideline.
That wasn't me. That was Jacoby's idea.
Right.
Was to have Foster's Kids.
Yeah.
That
Be
is
the name of
pretty-
this show.
that's pretty
Weekdays
funny.
from 6 to 10 on 104.5 The Zone.
Jacoby. Huh.
That's right. Oh, Red Brian's
I
here.
thought that was Jacoby
All right.
walking in.
We've got a little
Jacoby.
bit of breaking news.
Oh, boy.
Courtesy of Tom Pelissero of NFL Media, the Indianapolis Colts have named Anthony Richardson their Week 1 starter.
Whoa, baby.
See you in week 5, dog.
Look at that. Rhett coming in hot.
And the defensive backs will see the football going towards them, I think, too, if he plays anything like he did over the weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
We see you.
Brett Bryan keeping us informed.
Somebody gave him a C, I think, on his performance this past weekend. C or C minus.
Go
C's
on
get
with your
degrees.
bad self.
C's at degrees. Also, will have you sitting at home in the playoffs.
Tough day to be Gardner Minshew.
That's all right, though. Let him be a backup.
He strikes me as the guy who very much enjoys being the backup.
He
quarterback.
does.
I would agree.
He embraces it.
Easily. You got to be built for that role, though, too.
Yeah, true.
You really do.
I mean, like, who was one of the greatest backups? Why am I
Chase
blanking
Daniel.
his name?
Chase Daniels. Or Brian Hoyer.
Fitzpatrick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. Well, he was a starter.
Yeah, but more
Most
so
places.
known, right, as a backup, like who
I
could
don't
step
think
up
so.
and be a starter at points.
I think by the end of his career, as
He was
many
a
places
tweener.
as he started,
He's a
I
tweener.
mean, he was good in Washington as a football teamer.
Tampa.
Tampa. Miami.
Buffalo.
Jets. Texans.
I guess he did start a lot.
Titans. He was a starter here.
But he wasn't a. I love him so much. I think he's a great dude. I don't want to
He
say he's
beat
a
Tom
strong.
Brady.
He's not a strong starter type though. Is what he is. He's a dude you love to have on your team, but hate as a backup because everybody loves him
Right.
so much though. That's his biggest
Yeah.
issue.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is the reason why the Titans got to go to New England and end Tom Brady's tenure as a Patriot, because the Pats
Crazy.
crushed the the Pats got crushed by the Dolphins
Mm-hmm.
in Week 17 in the 2019 season. That's what sent the Titans to New England.
That's what I'm saying. Like
And he was pretty good.
he's a tweener guy. You don't want a strong backup. You don't.
Right.
Because everybody's always looking to that guy because they usually got the better jokes. Okay, they're usually easier to talk to, and they just are bigger team guys. Like it's
You think they
cannot
leave?
have a strong backup.
You think they leave Anthony in the whole year?
They have to. Yeah, they got no choice. They're married to him.
With Jim Irsay, you never know.
Wow. Well, that's true too.
He's a wild horse.
That's true too. That man right there is.
Saving
I can't
orcas.
believe he's paying $20 million to put this whale back in the ocean. Like
He's
I'm
doing
still
it.
not over that. Like you got actual human beings
Lolita.
that can use this. Yeah, Lolita. Again, the only Lolita we respect is Ron Slay's mom. You hear me? That's it.
It's pretty overwhelming that he would do that.
Oh, I knew it was coming.
I did not. I
Did Bert
I thought
hear
he'd
that?
do better. He should cut his
Unfortunately,
There it
I
is.
heard that. Yes. Doing my best to slink behind the window back here.
Well, fortunately, Ryan Tannehill had an excellent day yesterday at Titans training camp. 17 of 20 in the 7-on-7 and team periods combined. But there was one guy, Kayla, who may have had his best day in a Titans uniform so far. That was Josh Wiley, who caught at least 4 passes, according to Jim Wyatt of TennesseeTitans.com, including a deep ball from Tannehill in a team period. I was pleasantly surprised how much he flashed on Saturday in Chicago, simply because he did miss the first week of camp.
Yeah.
And you don't think of guys who miss the first few practices as hitting the ground running very quickly. Obviously, the fumble, got to fix that. But I thought largely it was good to see him be open and in the mix on Saturday in Chicago.
Yeah, because he did start off training camp with obviously not being there and then a little bit quiet, just getting in the groove of everything. And part of that is also when you're working with Tannehill, him finding, that chemistry, him feeling comfortable going to you. And it feels like that's starting to develop there a little bit, like it did last year with Chigakonkwo. And Josh Wiley is such an interesting body type because he's a big, long, tall guy. He's got a lot of reach, right? He's pretty athletic for being more of a, I'm not going to call him a lanky guy, but he's a little bit more on the slight side for being that tall, but can make some really athletic plays. And yesterday, just being able to see that in practice, coming off of the preseason game where you saw a little bit of him had a mistake, but obviously could move past that. I think he could be a good little option here once the season starts.
He'd be a real good option, man. He's big, like you said, and that's only a matter of so much. But when he got drafted, the biggest thing that we talked about is him being a playmaking tight end.
Right.
Him eating up space in the middle of your of your defense the same way that you kind of position him on that pass to Malik that was, that floated a little bit too high and was intercepted. He cannot, though, have that fumble. I know for a fact. I don't know for a fact. I would assume Vrabel was loud. Vrabel was direct in the team meeting. I'm sure he heard it in his individual meetings about how precious the football is, and he got to hold on to it at all times, especially if he's not a big special teams guy right now. Bro, you're a young guy. You cannot afford a fumble. But, again, I've seen this in practice. He blocks on the end of the line of scrimmage well. He has good poise about him. He's thicker than you thought, too.
Yeah.
He's a tall guy, but he's a big body guy, though, too. Like, he doesn't look like lanky in a sense. He's long.
It's hard to describe. You got to see him in person.
He's one of those dudes that probably lean into. He's like, man, you heavier than I thought. One of those situations. I'm excited to see what it could look like for him.
And he's pretty focused kind of guy, right? He's a rookie. He doesn't say much, but you could tell he just is doing the work.
He is doing the work. He should be excited to get back out there, especially if he gets some burn with Tannehill.
Yeah.
Bucket on Twitter writes in, at Ramon Kayla Will, where you can join the conversation, says, good on Irsay for orchestrating the move for the whale.
Oh, boy. Look at him joining in on the dad
Some
jokes.
people. Way to go, Bucket. That was solid. Welcome back to Twitter, I guess.
Oh, are you back?
No, I
Could be my Twitter.
Could be my Twitter.
Couldn't be my social media platform.
I hate y'all.
Could you imagine not being on Twitter?
No,
What's that like?
I can't imagine.
Well, on Facebook, the rave reviews are pouring in for Ramon Foster this morning as Mark writes in the F&M Bank chat, says, wow, Ramon, did you just say teams don't want a good backup? Maybe the worst take I have ever heard. Come on.
I didn't say didn't want a good backup. I said a strong backup, meaning personality, meaning that the guy who you have behind you, like a Fitzpatrick or even a Will Levis, people will always say, hey, guess what? I want to go with him. The same way that we've seen other people in situations like a Michael Vick going into a locker room. You can't have him. The same way we talked about Cam Newton is not a backup type of quarterback. Is he, Will? No. Why? Because he got a strong personality. Don't mix my words when I say stuff like that.
What you get for listening on Facebook, man.
Oh, my
that's
gosh.
what you get.
I love it.
I've said that time and time again, though. You don't want a strong backup personality. It's the same way I've seen Ben and Mason Rudolph kind of go. Why? Because Mason came in wanting to be the starter.
And then the conversation is always like, well, isn't that the starter?
Or let's stick right here in Nashville. Okay?
That's where I was about to go.
You go ahead.
Like when the Titans traded for a backup quarterback, and then halfway through the 2019 season, that backup quarterback became the starter and led them to the AFC Championship game. His name is Ryan Tannehill.
Whoa.
It's always saying.
Yeah.
You didn't say you didn't want a good backup. You do want to go. The personalities is always going to chase the franchise guy.
Yeah. That's why Josh Dobbs is the perfect backup quarterback.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why, y'all got along so well in Pittsburgh because Josh is on the record saying, like, it's honestly like studying for a test every week, and then you don't actually take the test. You just have to be ready to take it.
Sure.
That's
Absolutely.
the extent of the job.
Was Huntley in Baltimore? The conversation always comes up with him, right? Oh, we can just go with Huntley because Lamar this. No, Lamar is good. Huntley is just a role player in his cowboy movie. That's all.
Cowboy movie.
Sidekick.
Okay.
Poncho and Lefty.
Say what you want to, but that's what you
Great
want the
tacos.
backup quarterback to be. You want him to be a real cool sidekick to tell good jokes, but it's not as near as good as the starter unless you have a starter in waiting.
It's like Blaine Gabbert had a job with Tom Brady.
Boom.
Oh,
Same
gosh. Yeah.
Titans legend, Blaine Gabbert.
Now, again, they got to be good enough to win games, but you don't want them.
Right.
That does not play cover.
Dang, I was starting to think I had a future as a backup quarterback. You just need somebody to tell jokes, fill up the water cooler. Sign me up, boy. You need to throw balls to somebody? I can do
Robert,
that.
that's the punter's job. Punter and long snapper.
I'll stick to wanting to be a Zamboni driver.
There you go. We can make that happen here.
Ron Slay stops by for his conversation here on the show. Who knows what we ever get to with with Ron Slay. Honestly, I could tease whatever I want to talk about. Ron Slay takes us where Ron Slay wants to take us.
He
Coming
took
up
over
next
the show, too,
on
yesterday.
104.5 The Zone. Trumpets announcing the arrival of one Ron Slay with us here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville with Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh behind the glass. I'm Will Bowling. 615-737-1045 is the number. I saw Slay loitering in the studio. Is he back there with you, Robert?
I can neither confirm nor deny that Sylvester Slay is back here with me.
Ron Slay is back in the control room.
He had to finish his breakfast first. He didn't want to talk with food in his mouth.
That's fair.
Gotta get the protein. Gotta get that, man.
I was wondering if we had been put in timeout.
Apparently, there is a grievance that will be aired at a later date. I'm speaking it. It's not so much you as it is maybe Ramon speaking out of turn, maybe asking for favors.
Okay, good.
What?
Outstanding.
I'm on the back end of the Ron Slay wrath.
We'll have to talk about it at a later date. Look, I'm just the speaker of the house.
His spot is right now.
Bert, what the hell is wrong with you, man? I don't like how you just switching
I
sides
didn't do
like
this.
No, you out here instigating like you me and stuff, man. You switching sides like it's just all right. You went from just this morning being team us, and now you team Slay just because he walks in the studio smelling good and brought you food.
Let me tell you, he didn't bring me no food, but it does smell good as a mug back here.
As a mug.
Yeah.
As a mug.
And then he doesn't share what he's wearing. He won't give
He will
the
not
secret
tell
away.
me. The other day he told me it was some Gucci Man LaFleur. Like, what is that supposed to be?
did he?
What the hell is that supposed to be? I asked a lady at the
Great
Hanes about
question.
that, and she laughed at me like I was dumb.
I bet she did.
What the world?
The Hanes.
The Hanes. What is wrong with you, Bert, man? Golly, I got to figure out what this is going into this weekend. What Savage got
what did
going
you
on?
do?
Yeah.
I'm really curious.
The facts that have been presented to me is Ramon may have asked Slay to offer his services yesterday for an extended period of time. And then when he got here, he found out his services were not needed. So he said since the extra time was allotted yesterday to allow him to get through traffic, he will be coming in at a later date to accommodate for the time he lost yesterday in transit.
What it was.
And that is the end of my client's statement.
Yeah. What it was, we was trying to figure out Monday's schedule yesterday, and I figured Kayla had to go to practice. I was like, well, maybe I'll ask Ron to come in if you do leave early. I didn't go back to him and explain that we made our own.
Oh, that's what it is.
And he was here on time, and he
I
talked
was wondering what was going on.
I'm terrible with administering.
He could have just sat down with us and talked.
He said he can't do 2 times, is what he said. He was like, you only get me once, is what Ronald Sylvester Slay said, man. You right about that.
They call him single-time Slay.
Come on, man.
One time is
You're
just
going after
as good.
short people? You're going after tall people now, and Ron Slay, 6'8", Ron Slay.
He is not 6 foot. Hey, man, I've had people walk up to me and tell me that are non-athletes. I'm like, do you even know what 6'8" look like? Okay, I'm 6'8" then, okay? Don't tell me I'm height deprived because Ron is 6'8" and he's not 6'8".
My client has informed me that I have been given the liberty to answer questions on his behalf. So if there are any questions that you would like to put forth for Ronald Sylvester Slay, then I would be happy to speak as the Speaker of the House.
Is he 6'8"?
Wow.
Yes. Actually, it's 6'8.5".
Oh, well, lovely. Okay.
This is not the case,
Would
man.
Would he have felt comfortable to just kick Ramon out of the chair and do the show with me?
Probably so.
My client says that would have been a possibility. They are brothers, but in fact, brothers sometimes fight. And this is a situation that can neither be sorted out on the microphone. It would probably have to be sorted out in person. So, yes, he would have accepted an invitation to join you, Kayla, but not Ramon.
That sounds like he want to lock up.
Next question.
He want to wrestle in the hallways is what that sound like. We got some new pictures hanging up now in the hallway. And I'm sore today, so he might have an advantage.
Yeah.
Okay, got to throw that out there. But I'm into knocking pictures off the wall, if y'all into that too.
Wow, okay.
I'll put my bets in. I'm not going to share where I'm going yet, though.
The fact that you won't share your
Robert Walsh, can you ask your client, Ron Slay, in there, if it is fair to say that his "You're Not That Guy" is Ramon Foster?
That would be fair to say.
Oh, okay.
My client has reserved the right to not speak, and now he will reserve the right to join you in the studio.
Oh, fantastic. Outstanding.
That being said, he does require an apology from one Ramon Foster.
So, Ramon,
and can you keep your hands to yourself?
Ramon, not only are you leaving this man on weekends to go stand on the sidelines with Titans Radio, now you are leaving him out to dry on weekdays. I tell you what, weekends is one thing. Weekdays, you are now making Ron Slay have to be inconvenienced, both on work hours and non-work hours.
Dog, I can't believe it. You know what?
That's crazy.
I made my bet.
That's crazy.
I made my bet. Don't use that's crazy like how I use that's crazy.
That's crazy.
My client has let me know he will join you in the studio under one condition, that there will be no more physical threats of violence from one Ramon Foster, and that if there are, the show should be changed to S.
There he is.
Here he comes.
Look at that
hear the door slam behind him.
No
I would not want to
handshake
be
today.
Ramon right now.
He walked
No
in
macho man.
The universes didn't unite. Oh,
wow. Nobody puts Ron Slay in a corner.
He walked in like my nephew this morning.
How are you? Or our
I
oral
think
arguments
Bert's still
have concluded.
needing to
I'm
talk.
still speaking for Slay. Good morning, all.
He's just going to run with it today, too. I know it.
Of course he is. I do too.
Robert, can you ask your client if he will allow Kayla and I to ask him Titans questions today in the studio?
Slay, would it be okay if Will and Kayla could ask you some questions as long as Ramon doesn't join in on the proceedings? My client has agreed. You can go forth with your questioning.
Okay.
Ron Slay, good morning. Who impressed you most in Chicago?
Man, you know what?
As the Titans took on the Bears.
You know what, man? I really enjoyed it. And I think it's so much to break down just from that first series. I think you could do an entire show on the first series. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought that the O-line with the push that they had, they mobbed them boys up front. And they wasn't playing against the twos.
Only we had a former lineman.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's up to you. That's you guys' show. You know what I'm saying? I'll let y'all run y'all show how y'all want to run y'all show.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, I thought, you know, the push that they had, Skoronski handling Hills, the first drive, Malik having a beautiful pocket to work with. I was surprised Hassan Haskins didn't do much more, but the way Spears came in and ran the rock behind that line, it was like, yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to need you right now. Let's go on and go with Spears. You know, but I was thinking to myself while watching the O-line do this, I remember my brother played O-line.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that one guy.
Is that Raymond?
Foster kid?
Yeah, I couldn't acknowledge him at the time, you know, because I was left, and then looking forward, getting to this day. That was a good one.
You know,
I like
if Kayla's snorting, it's too late.
That was a good one. That was a good one. But I was thinking, like, man, I ought to reach out. And then I was saying, in the past, he would reach back. But our communication has been, I don't know what it's severed. I don't know if this is a Mike Keith thing. You know, I don't know if Mike Keith put him up to this or, you know, I mean, Titans Radio, like, they have an influence. So, I mean, some people, when they make it to a certain level, will lead change.
I'm right here.
Oh,
they change, and you try to proceed and build those relationships and bridge that gap between each other. And maybe it ain't what I thought it was, Will. But that O-line did a phenomenal job. I don't mean to, you know, get us sidetracked on that. That was an emotional time for me, but. I think that O-line did phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? I think Malik Willis did a great job, especially in that first drive.
so
you know what I mean?
What grade would you give that O-line that was not actually playing the game?
Right.
But actually on the broadcast mic for the sideline for radio.
Oh, they had a guy. They had a guy. They had a guy there.
Please don't speak while my client's speaking.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Like, this hostile energy that I'm receiving from this over here.
It's not okay. If you need to come back in here, that's perfectly plausible.
Joe Hunk, take notes.
I'm gonna give it one more time. I'm gonna give it one more chance. I'm gonna give it one more chance, Bert, and I would love for you to summon me back in there.
You want me to cut his mic off? Would that be easier for you? We'll give him one more chance.
If it makes you
Who are you supposed to be, Biggie, right now?
If that makes you Thank you. Back to our show.
Down goes Foster's mic.
Back to our show. RKW. Ron, Caleb, and Will. Let's keep rolling. Let's keep it rolling, y'all. I'm just saying, man. You know, I think he did a fantastic job, man. You know, you heard a little bit of the confidence of being on the field before playing.
Right?
I just wish I could have seen his career,
Right?
because that's not the same guy that I saw before that was out there talking. But that's
Different
neither here nor there. Yeah.
Neither here nor there. I'm right here.
Could you cut him?
The man has his own
Thanks.
button also, doesn't he?
But you liked Malik's performance.
No, I did. I was impressed. All the he's been taking the leaps and bounds and everything. It made sense.
Yeah.
But also, I think I was more impressed by that starting O-line more than anything. I think that's what I went into it with. You know, how can they all get together and get to moving as a unit? You know, with plugging pieces in and not being sure how Bronsko was going, how he was going to bounce back from day one going against Big Jeff, you know what I'm saying? But
Dillard.
Dillard held his ground. I would like to see him hold it a little bit more, but I think that's when you saw a little bit more connection with guys. Brewer finishing up and coming to clean him up when he saw Skoronski had his guy come and help Dillard out. So that would be something that I would love to ask a former lineman, but
There's not on the show.
that's the whole problem,
Right.
KK. So we just gonna roll how we get on down with it.
Ron,
Just gonna lean in, Kayla.
hold on, excuse me. Ron,
Yes.
the defendant, Mr. Ramon Foster, has a proposition that he would like to bring up to you if it would please the court.
If you're if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Ramon Foster, please step up to the stand.
This thing on. It's been a while.
It is now. Oh,
It was
there it
off.
goes.
It's been a while since I've been able to talk on this show. RKW, Ron, Kayla, and Will. But I have a proposition for the prosecutor here, Ronald Sylvester Slay, that I'm willing to open up our relationship again, but I come bearing a gift this time. Okay? I'm not trying to say I'm trying to buy you back. Okay? But what I'm saying is I'll offer.
Erroneous!
accusations.
Buy me. I can't be bought.
Accusations.
I can't be bought. I can't be bought out here. What is?
That was not the right move.
Tell me, do I need to come back down, Bert, and hear him out?
I want to see what the gift is.
The gift, okay? It's
Bert
the summer
can be
month
bought.
still. I'll offer you a 12-pack of essential bottled waters.
What? I
12
thought you were going
pack.
to say a boat.
He don't like boats.
My client does not like boats.
A no roof convertible.
Are you into a 12-pack of essential waters? The big bottles, because I'm over here. I'm the 50-ounce.
Can I talk to my counsel?
Oh my! I'm right here.
Hold on, we have to.
Make
we're
it
gonna-
work,
recess.
Slay.
We're going to step in the count.
Order.
Order.
I will throw you in contempt of court.
Thank you.
Slay,
Thank you, Judge Lee.
you want
That sounds good, Judge Lee.
you want 24 or 36?
Counsel, I would love to have that doubled.
My client has a rebuttal. Instead of a 12-pack of the large essential waters, he would like a minimum of 24 of the large essential waters. How do you respond?
Ramon Foster, the ball is in your court.
I can't break up the cases. So
Erroneous! Erroneous!
So I give him the 24 plus a gift card to lunch.
Where is the lunch at?
Place of his liking.
That's bad deal making by you. He was just going to take 24.
Well, I want to sit down with him because the
Hold
time
on,
we
hold
missed
on now.
talking.
We don't know.
Sounds good.
The time we missed talking to one another
say,
today.
Don't literally take food out of my client's mouth.
That plus a lunch gift card.
Slay, would you like to accept?
Counsel, could I change the lunch gift card for a back porch strikeout wing session?
There you go.
My
Ron-
client would like to change the gift card to a back porch strikeout lunch session.
Go ahead and grab a Ron Slay special while you're there.
Only if I can bring 2 cigars.
There you go.
Counsel,
Interesting.
Yes, sir.
it's making it hard on me. It's making it hard for me to say no.
You're a tough bargainer, but I think my client would accept under the condition that you would not.
Nice. There it is.
Dun dun dun.
There he is.
And they hug it out, folks.
This has been
We back!
Ron, Kayla, and Will.
We this my boy. That's what we do, bring relationships back.
Court is done.
We back, baby.
Making
Tough.
amends.
I had to put my feet down. I had to put my foot down, Savage.
You did.
Never
couldn't leave.
invite Ron Slay to the studio and
Just
then
saying.
forget
Yep.
that you invited him and not put him on it.
But
Lessons were learned
you
today.
took all that Mike Keith anger out on me. That's all this is.
You're right.
That's all this is, Will.
You're absolutely right. This is from Titans Radio. I love them to death, but this is, yeah.
You
I'm
can't
sorry.
take weekends and weekdays.
I was looking for an inch, and I found it.
Ron, what's going to happen if when we try to get the band back together for maybe some UT shows this year? I wonder if this guy's going to be.
Oh boy,
Lord knows.
Going to be too big time
so
for us.
I hope you don't miss it.
Who's to say?
I have to book ahead.
You got to book ahead.
Then again, the last time we did that, Tennessee lost to Georgia, so maybe not. But we'll bring better luck this time.
I'm saying all I'm trying to do is get my beard knocked over at LSU or some SEC stadium too.
That's exactly
I
what
would
happened.
hate for that to happen.
Dog.
Hey.
Anyway,
that was a time.
Couldn't be my team. I heard knocking over fresh beers.
After getting down 21.
Hey, Jim friggin' Nance in the F&M Bank chat also said that you had more integrity than that. You shouldn't have been bought.
I should have been bought. First of all, I wanted.
Right?
That's called wagering. I mean, Jim Nance, he must not have been in negotiations before. I'm a negotiator, baby.
What did Denzel say? I'm leaving here with something.
I'm leaving with something.
I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
Exactly. Yeah. Good job, Bert. We eating good on this one, Bert.
Heck yeah. That's
Tell
what I'm
Pan
talking
we'll
about.
put Pan in on it too since he happened to be around.
Just curious, what is Robert Walsh's legal fee? If I ever needed Robert's legal advice in the future, like what'd you have to pay?
You ain't got to
this
answer that, Bert.
You know what? I'm not going to plead the fifth.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll plead the sixth.
Isn't that like what is the Sixth Amendment again?
I'm not sure. I did not pass the bar. I don't know how I'm actually practicing right now.
You might have a future in that, Bert.
Yeah, he's have representation basically.
Yeah, you're like Julio Jones. You're usually not practicing. The accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial. That's the Sixth Amendment. So Robert pleads the ability to have a speedy trial.
I love that sound.
That
Gets
is
me
good.
going.
Justice system.
Right?
That's so good, man.
It is.
You say you've been
These
watching
are their
Suits.
stories.
I got to finish that up too.
I was going to
Suits.
start
Yeah, I
that. Is it
started.
good?
Yeah, it's from the first couple episodes I've watched. Yeah, I'm into Suits.
Better call Bert instead of Better Call Sal.
Hey, better call Bert.
I like that.
Nice one, Harold.
Checks in the mail.
Better call
I like
Bert.
that.
Yeah,
Better call
credit to
Bert.
Harold in the F&M Bank chat. That's
That's
a good
tough right there, man. Bert, man,
might
I'm
be
gonna be
doing
real with you. You are one of those slimy lawyers I wouldn't like. You hear me?
He's
Hey,
back.
I can sell cars too. Whatever you need. Any little.
Got any cars to sell? Thousands of Bert Walshes will be there.
I can already tell y'all. I'm not a fan of Bert. He walking there was like, I know we're getting gypped over today.
That was good.
Oh my gosh.
That's great. So, Ramon and Slay, do you have any questions to ask Slay now, Ramon?
Right.
Tuesday morning, wrapping up the show on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Robert Walsh spinning the hits and representing the talent in the room. The talent being named one, Ron Slay.
Hey.
Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling with you. Ramon, you had a question for Slay before we went to break. Sorry about that. No idea what happened.
Yeah, of course you don't know what happened, man. Of course you don't know what happened. I got no question now, man. I feel like after the back and forth we've had today, me finally getting above board with Ron Slay, I feel like, it might be due it to kind of hold together. By the way, we have an event this weekend, too.
Yeah.
By the way, yes,
It's
absolutely. Sunday.
Where is it?
It's in Brentwood.
I'm asking you, Lou.
Confirm. It's in Brentwood. It's the Big Orange Kickoff.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. I got an email about that over the weekend.
County alumni.
Yeah, it'll be at BGA Center for Arts this weekend at 6 p.m. Sunday.
Pretty cool event, too, man.
Yeah. What do you guys just meet with the fans?
Yeah, so Mike Keefe leads it. Ask a series of questions. Last year was me and Brent Hubbs.
Nice.
I think he just had shoulder surgery or something, so he had to do his via Zoom. So they did his, and it was real cool. They did it at the Franklin Theater.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
Yeah, kids and everything, families were there. It was pretty dope.
I might have to pull up to that.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty cool.
You and now back again, your brother.
My ace,
officially
man.
back.
Yeah, he back.
I'm back.
I don't know what made him step out of skin like that.
Right?
As a Williamson County alumnus from the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, I might have to stop by.
Yeah.
Slide on by, man.
Call out here, man.
Word on the street is y'all are doing something before the Virginia game too, possibly.
We are.
Who's to say?
I
got tickets for that
is.
one already.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Are you ready to get to it?
I'm ready.
I will be a participant at No Roof Ministries pre-games this year also.
I know food on the plates.
Yeah, I know we got stuff going on in the stew. You feel me? I feel cool saying
Just
stew
a little something.
In the stew.
with Titans Radio, but my dog out there by 9. I'm gonna see if I can swing by.
That's one thing for sure. I'm
There you
there.
go.
Food is already smoking hot.
Is it?
It's on.
Never tailgated like this before.
It's live, man. I'm gonna be real. Like we brought it back. I expect it to be at the Bridge Building again.
Nice.
Oh,
Titans
yeah.
tailgate. Hey, man. If you haven't experienced it, ask a friend that it has come. It's a time.
Nice.
Hey, do you get any bonus passes for that? Because last year I was the one operating the board. So every time I would have to get Slay to do a call in, he'd be like, "Hold on, let me tell.
So funny.
This is the only man that has the kind of pull where he could go to a party and tell the DJ who's entertaining everybody there, hey man, cut that down. I got to do a hit real quick."
Hey, you know 104.5.
Is that good, Bert? It need to be lower. I'm like, no, dude, that's good. I didn't know Slay had that kind of pull, man. He like Rudolph out here.
Around,
Take the surprise out your
around
voice.
like, dude, why did he turn? Hey, dog, be cool.
But
Right, I gotta get on the phone.
they sound like they are a blast. If you're a
That's
Titans
cool.
fan and you like to party, they ain't no better place than to party with Ron
Bert,
Slay.
you gotta come, Bert.
Yeah.
You
You let me know. I'll pull
I
up.
got you.
That will be
I'm letting
doing
you know every time. Every time. I want you to come.
I don't have Titans post-game duties anymore this season.
Oh, you
Turn
come.
up.
So what you gonna do pregame though?
I'm doing pregame.
You tell me.
You doing pregame? Okay, well, you can't come get fried. You can come get fried.
All right, I'll be there.
That's all right,
But you
that's
come get
all right.
you can come get a waffle or something.
I'm looking forward to the days.
Yeah, no, that
That'll work.
mimosa's good too.
I could do one mimosa.
It's hard to leave though, KK. I'm
Right?
telling
She
you.
gonna do
when
one.
You step in. It's hard.
I might have to make a special appearance. I'm gonna get. I don't need to sit there the whole time at the stadium.
might
I'm
be
just gonna
doing
hop over.
That
might be doing.
Yeah,
Good party.
yeah, because y'all throw it to me.
Yeah.
So instead of throwing it to me, you just
I
come
just
over
come
there
over.
personally and interview.
Yeah, we got to do a
That's
cheers,
how
of
we do that.
course.
Yeah.
We need a 3-day marathon where we're at a high school football game on a Friday, a Tennessee game on a Saturday, and tailgating with Slay before a Titans game on Sunday.
That's rough.
That's what
We did
first thing
close to
came to my
that.
mind.
Dog, what was it last year? We did the Kentucky-Tennessee game and then had to come right back and do the Titans game.
It's the LSU game.
It was the LSU game?
We were in Baton Rouge, and then we flew back from Baton Rouge that night because Tennessee
to do
beat
Titans.
LSU at noon, which LSU fans still complain about. And then
That
we were
is
back
why we had to leave.
for
Yep.
the Titans the next day.
Yep. Oh, boy. You talking about fried. Lord, have mercy.
We were.
My little body, boy.
That was when
My little
you were
body,
fried
he says.
temperature-wise because
that too.
I was
Right?
with my family at Walk-Ons, no free shout-outs, getting a post-game victory beverage or two.
I told Will, hey, man, turn that
He
car
said,
on.
hey, give me the
I
keys.
remember you telling
And
this
give me the
story.
keys to the car, and I'm going to sit there and lean the seat all the way back and take a little nap.
KK, I really think I blacked on out. Like in the seat. Like I don't remember. I just remember like when they came back, it was like, all right, let's get to the airport. Got to the airport, Papa Bowling got us something to eat. Got me some Rolaids.
Oh, I had some
headache medicine
gumbo down there.
I loaded up.
You were ready to
Man,
go.
what?
It's the Baton
Got on the
Rouge
plane, it
airport
was
with like
over.
2 gates.
That
Will
was
got
different.
sick from that too.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so anytime I get a temperature change where I go from, so it was like 90 degrees in the stadium that day, and there was like a cool front in Nashville when we got back.
Yeah.
And it was in the
Yep.
40s when we got back late that night, and it was 90 in the morning and 40 when we got back, and I was like, I'm going to be sick. And sure enough, I woke up the next day, I got
down.
bronchitis.
And that was bad. I
got time
remember.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah, but
that
all
was
that
UT
said,
Alabama
man,
week,
you better pay attention to the zone, man. We got some good stuff popping.
We do got
It's going to be a really fun fall.
Yep, we've been waiting on it.
Something you should look for today at noon. Brett Kern will be on the Buck Rising Show.
Hey.
Okay,
Nice.
12 o'clock hour.
Love Kern.
Titans legend.
Mm-hmm. Also,
tomorrow on the show,
come on, Will.
Let's bring it.
Come
At
on, Will. Lee.
8:20 in
got?
studio, Tennessee Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill.
Hey,
Bring it.
We'll
Come
stop
on now.
by. We'll be talking a little bit about this new stadium website, the wait list that is opening up to grab tickets to a brand new Tennessee Titans stadium. We'll also talk about the brand new season. And good to get a little visit from the Titans president and CEO coming up tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. He's always a good one to talk
Great
to. I know
interview.
you guys have had him on the show, and he'll come in and he'll talk about things, but then he'll also bring
He'll
some
throw
things
some
to
nuggets.
the table
Yep,
that you
sure
didn't even
will.
know were coming.
Yep,
So,
you unexpected. Yeah, keep you on your toes.
Looking
man.
forward to that.
Solid too. I've run into him a couple times. Just a nice dude, man.
Yeah,
and
relatable.
that's the thing. Relatable, Kayla.
Mm-hmm.
Just a dude that want to friggin' win and crush it
Yep.
here. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and they're
definitely.
doing that.
Yes, they
They
are.
are.
Yes, they are.
Slay, thank you for stopping by, and thank you
No
for
doubt, man.
opening up our courts with honor today.
I want to thank Judge Lee, the bailiff, K.K. Anderson, my counsel, Bert Walsh, and assistant, Lucas Panzica, for getting our matter solved, man. Welcome back, Savage. Glad to be back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, be back with you, brother.
The court is back in session tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Thank you to Ron Slay. Thank you to ESPN's Bill Connelly for stopping by today. Rhett Bryan, Burke Nihill, and whatever else transpires tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Ramon Foster, now that he has come to an agreement with the Honorable Ron Slay, gives us words of wisdom.
Hey, just remember, all your friends can be bought at some point in time. 2 cases of water, dinner on the back porch. But at all times, you got to remember, baby, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.